to further strengthen and secure our border.
CNN's Anderson Cooper told her that bill includes funding for a wall that she called stupid and medieval when Trump was president.
You do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
The vice president also called Trump a fascist, unstable and unfit to serve. She'll hold a rally today in Georgia, and next Tuesday, a week before the election, the vice president will make a speech in Washington at
the same site where former President Trump rallied his supporters on January 6, 2021, claiming the election had been rigged against him. Campaign advisors to Harris say they believe the ellipse location will spotlight Trump's worst moment.
That's Fox's Jill Nato. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's in Qatar continuing to urge Israel to end the war in Gaza a week after killing Hamas's leader. And he's pledging more U.S. aid to Palestinians.
Today we're announcing an additional $135 million in humanitarian assistance.
So Israel hit Gaza with another airstrike today at a school turned shelter. Palestinian officials say at least 17 people were killed. Israel maintains it's targeting militants hiding among civilians. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
His answers lack clarity. Radar is clear. It's sunny and 47 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Donnie Burgess reports on witness testimony in the Delphi murders trial.
Dr. Roland Kaur conducted the autopsies on Delphi teenagers Abigail Williams and Liberty German. He testified Wednesday that he cannot settle on the time of death, nor does he have a consistent opinion on the type of blade used to kill the girls. Rape kits were used for both girls, but no apparent evidence of sexual assault was present. The defense claims suspect Richard Allen is innocent, and the timeline of the murders laid out by the state is incorrect. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
500,000 Hoosiers. That's how many have cast their ballot throughout the state of Indiana so far. 32,000 of those in Marion County. Clerk Kate Sweeney Bell tells Wish TV she expects it to ramp up.
When we open up 8 additional sites and people, our voters are getting used to the early voting sites, we're going to be busy.
Today is the last day that you can apply for a mail-in ballot. That deadline is 11:59 local time tonight. A man found shot to death in Speedway in the wee hours this morning. It was in the area of West 10th and Norfolk Street. Police found the man dead inside of a parked car in that area. So far, no arrests to speak of. Attorney General Todd Rokita is threatening to sue police departments in South Bend and Seymour. He says unless they can prove they've been in compliance with state laws banning sanctuary cities, he'll take them to court, accusing them of violating state immigration laws. The Indianapolis Colts preparing for the Houston Texans this Sunday.
The record speaks for itself. They're a talented group. They know us, we know them. It'll be a hell of a challenge going down there, but we're fired up for the challenge.
Head coach Shane Steichen, both Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner were back at practice on a limited basis on Wednesday. A super recruit from Greenfield is heading east for his college ball. Braylon Mullins plays basketball at Greenfield Central and was heavily recruited by Indiana, but Mullins announcing his decision on Wednesday to attend UConn. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Coming in from Shelby County, the Shelby Rush Tri-Point with Decatur, westbound 74, about 2 miles before State Road 44. This is a fatal crash, and right now we're saying the right shoulder is blocked. A van overturned off the right side of the interstate. No delays at the moment. Looking at northbound 465 on the northwest side. Stop-and-go traffic, 86th Street up to 865 because of a crash. Inbound 69 slows, 96th Street to 465. Crash Rockville Road at High School Road. Crash north side, 86th Street east of Harcourt. Traffic sponsored by Compassion International. Thousands of kids in poverty have waited for over a year for a sponsor, and their wait today. Become a Compassion sponsor. Text radio at 83393. I'm Matt Baer with Traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Sunny skies and more seasonable conditions this afternoon. Today's high around 64. We'll keep it mainly clear this evening. Not quite as cold, a low down to 47. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
47 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 24th. It's 7 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. I'm sure you were glued to your TV last night watching CNN, weren't you? During her town hall by herself over and over and over again, Kamala Harris just kept arguing that Donald Trump was unstable and unfit to serve. Now, you'd think that Orange Man is bad is not a campaign strategy, but for Kamala Harris, it is, and she's sticking with it.
Yeah, in the background, you might be able to hear because nothing works around here. There's a computer back there that sounds like it's getting ready to blow up. And that's really fitting because last night, the Kamala Harris campaign, Casey, sounded like it was ready to blow up.
Yeah. What did you think of her scripted answers? She was giving answers exactly the same way she does at rallies. The word for word, hand motions even.
There's an incredible movie I'm sure much of our audience has seen over the years. It's an old movie now, but it's called The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler. And in the opening part of the movie, he's at a wedding, and Steve Buscemi, another very famous actor, plays the best man at this wedding he's performing at. And Buscemi's all liquored up, and he gets up to give the best man speech, and he, of course, it just goes totally off the rails, and he's got serious issues with the way he was treated by his dad. And at one point, he just shouts at his dad and goes, "I'm a person too." And the dad shouts back at him, "You're a moron." and that was Kamala last night. "I'm a person too." And society shouted back at her, "You're a moron," because, wow, that was horrible, even by the low bar set for her.
What do you think is going to happen to Anderson Cooper today? Because he was fact-checking her to her face.
Well, isn't this interesting? That, and look, it's tea leaf reading, right? That's very dangerous to do, but it is sort of kind of maybe a sign, because you're starting to see more and more of this, that train is leaving the station, and that the media in this country is starting to recognize, hey, we've done everything we can to pull the nose up for this woman, but she is on a kamikaze mission because of her own incompetence to just drive this plane right into the ground, and we're not going down with this ship, right? I mean, they've done everything they can for her. They did everything they could for Biden before her, and she's just so bad.
She's still trying to distance herself from Biden, calling herself, a new generation of leadership. And finally, Anderson Cooper did ask her about, you've been in office for 4 years, lady. What are you talking about, new generation of leadership? You've been in D.C. for a decade now. What do you even mean?
Well, and this is with these politicians, right? And we talk about this all the time on this show. And this is why Trump is so much different, and this is why there is such a bond with Trump by the people that are, hardcore Trump supporters. They're just plastic people, right? I mean, they're just plastic people. They have no core set of convictions. I mean, and I don't know if we're going to get to this. There's a bevy of these clips that are kind of like this, but at one point she gets asked last night about the abortion stuff, and Anderson Cooper just says to her, "Hey, you're not going to have 60 votes in the Senate, and you're maybe not going to have the House of Representatives." And so what do you do? And he specifically, and I don't remember exactly how the question was phrased, but he asked her about the House of Representatives. And she goes into this long, meandering nothing. And then it comes back to, well, we got to blow up the filibuster.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of looking at her like, lady, we asked you about the House of Representatives, and you don't know. Like, you're not processing even how this whole government that you want to run
works.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, but all of that being said, John Fetterman opened a debate with the phrase, hi, good night, everybody, a couple of years ago, and is a United States Senator. So I'm not sure if we're banking on, boy, she sounded really incompetent, and the whole nation saw that. I'm not sure that's the silver bullet that we think it is.
Well, based on CNN's ratings, I don't really know if the whole nation did see it. I think there's a handful of people who saw it.
Well, you and I have talked about this at length, which is we are now in a new era of politics. Obviously, like Twitter has existed for previous elections, but not the way it's existing now, where no matter what you're doing, it used to be, I got to go on so-and-so show because of the ratings that they have, and whether it's 60 Minutes or it's Meet the Press or whatever, because that's where the political people, the civic-minded people are. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on a podcast with 50 viewers, it's the chop up of the clip that goes on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her, what is getting played? It's these word salads. I mean, even the media starting to use that phrase. You're seeing it now. The non-answers, the meandering, all of these things are what you're seeing on Twitter, which is where it's actually getting exposed to the people rather than just the broadcast itself.
So more scripted questions, and there were many times as the audience was asking her questions.
Right now. See, right now, Axelrod. So Fox News, where we have Fox News, David Axelrod, who was the Obama guy, calls Terrace Town Hall Word Salad City. That's an Obama person saying that.
Right, Word Salad City. And that's what I was just getting to, is that there were people in the audience who were asking these questions, and many times she would go off on this Word Salad City, and I just wanted the person in the audience to go, okay, great, but could you answer the question that I asked you?
So do we have the clip? I'm so glad you brought this up, and I don't know what order you'd intended to go on this, but there's a clip where she gets asked about something and she doesn't have the answer to it, and she tries to deflect or dodge or whatever, and she basically talks about how she'll study things and learn about
where
them.
she calls herself nerdy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Can we play that real quick? This is perfect.
It's the last one, Kevin. I believe we titled it Nerdy.
So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes, I confess.
What question would you possibly be getting at a CNN town hall
that you don't know the answer to?
Like, what are you going to get? Some deep dive on mining in Africa? I mean, come, like, what? Give me a break, lady. Like, it's the same. Probably a lot of those people were supporters of hers anyway. I mean, you're going to get the economy, you're going to get immigration, you're going to get abortion, you're going to. I mean, what are we? The Middle East? You're going to get Ukraine. What are we doing here that you would need to? And by the way, okay, you're the president. Hey, Madam President, North Korea fired a nuke. Hey, I'm kind of nerdy. I'm going to need to study that. I'll get back to you. I'm going to need to study
it. Yeah, she should be well-versed on these issues already. I thought there was one other, I mean, well, you know, we have a bevy to choose from, but one other one that I wanted to point out is when Anderson Cooper, it was almost like an interview, like she, you know, job application. What are your strengths and weaknesses? You know, he was asking her about some of her biggest mistakes. Can you go to that one, Kevin? It was the third one. I believe we titled that one Mistake. And she doesn't have an answer for this one either.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Okay, now the previous clip, she just told us she had to do her research, right? And now she...
Isn't that amazing that you would say, like, there is no It really is an insight in it. First, I mean, she's an idiot. Like, it was so funny because I was listening to Tony coming in, and he's talking about some of these clips, and Tony's so, dignified in high society. He's like, I hate using this word, but she sounds stupid. I was like, we use that term 93 times a show, Tony. First of all, I mean, she sounds like just a clueless buffoon. But second of all, to not be able to say one thing that, like, you're not sorry that you fired people who didn't get the vaccine, tried to get them fired. You're not sorry that you pushed a bunch of stuff on society, that there's no tangible evidence prevented the spread of COVID. You're not sorry that you shut businesses down or kept them shut down. You're not sorry about withdrawing from Afghanistan and those soldiers getting killed and that place becoming a mess. You're not sorry about the mass illegal immigration on the southern border. You're not sorry about inflation. I mean, all of these things that you would think would come right, just immediately off the top of your head. And she doesn't feel bad about any of them.
Nope, she's got nothing. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Sadly, people don't carry cash anymore.
I don't carry cash. No. It's better, especially if you live in a metropolitan area, that you don't have to carry cash.
That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, men carry cash, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, stop it.
So how much cash do you have on you right now?
Nothing. None. No. Don't need it. I'm digital, man. I'm digital. Man.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Hi, this is John Schmitz. Are you frustrated with slow or no response from your elected officials? Your U.S. congressman is one of those politicians that takes your vote for granted. Let's send a message to all politicians. If you don't meet us out in the neighborhoods, we will vote you out. You deserve better. I'll be there for you. I'm committed to work to preserve your freedoms. A vote for Schmitz will ensure less government interference and more control over your own life. I'm ready to work tirelessly for you. Visit johnschmitzforcongress.com and see how your vote can make a real difference. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Get in gear with fall
fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75300. See dealer for complete details.
This week at Sundown Gardens, it's 30% off container trees, shrubs, and interior fall decor. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
Coming up in about a half an hour, we're going to be joined by Senator Mike Braun, aren't we?
Yeah, there's a debate tonight.
Yes. So we have to ask him how he's preparing for that, if he's feeling good about it.
You know, it was interesting because Tony had Rainwater on earlier, and are we going to get to that later? Are we going to get to that later in the program?
You want to get to it now or later?
Well, I mean,
choice.
It's fine. I mean, look, people ask, like, why are you spending time on talking about Donald Rainwater being a horrific manager of his personal finances? And the reality is, he's a big boy running for a big boy office.
Because he wants to be the governor of the state of Indiana.
Yeah, and we don't have the audio of it, but he said something that was fascinating to me in this conversation with Tony. And Tony asked him something to the effect of, like, why do you think these ads are coming out now against you? And he said, well, I have heard through the grapevine they want to get over 50%. Okay, first of all, you heard that from us.
Right.
You don't have a grapevine, Don. You're part of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. There is no grapevine. You heard that from us. And well, duh. Of course they want to get over 50%.
They want to have a mandate to make changes.
Yes, and that's like he acted like that was some big reveal to Tony. Of course they want to get over 50% and we should want him to get over 50% because if you want your property taxes fixed, it's going to have to come from Mike Braun. The General Assembly has shown they are not motivated to do this on their own. This is what I tell people. If you're on the fence on this, here's what the election comes down to. Do you want the property tax issue fixed or don't you? If the answer is yes, you have one shot at it. And I'm not even going to say it's going to work because he's got to convince all those Republicans in the General Assembly to go along with him.
Yeah.
But you got one shot at it, and that's for Mike Braun to become the governor and win with a mandate. I don't think people are like, oh, the Braun campaign is in trouble. That's why they're running ads against Rainwater. I don't think that's it at all. And first of all, it's the state party that's running them, but obviously they're supporting Mike Braun. I think it's the fact that the Republican Party in this state is saying, wait a second, this guy is out here throwing grenades at us, throwing grenades at our guy, and he is the last. We're talking about throwing stones from a glass house. We're not going to take this from him. And he is probably taking votes from Braun. But everybody should have a vested interest in Mike Braun doing as well as he possibly can if you care at all about getting property taxes fixed. Period. End of story.
We need to ask Mike Braun if he's going to bring up anything from the mailer tonight in the debate if the opportunity arises.
This is the close, right? So this is the one that's on. It's the debate commission, so it's on like all the public TV stations and stuff. So it should have a pretty good audience. This is the close, and I think we'll talk to him about it coming up in a little bit. Braun's got to make the case of I'm a fighter for you. I think that's one of the things I think that people have some reservations with Braun about is that he's clearly a bright guy. The guy has made a ton of money in the business world. He clearly knows how to run a business, which is a good thing, but I think some people are still missing the why. Like, what is your passion for doing this? And if you remember in the primary, we were talking about this, saying a lack of a clear agenda in the primary is going to hurt him in the general election because you don't have these definitive things to kind of run on. And so I think tonight the challenge for Braun is going to be spelling out how he wants to fight. He wants to go in there and fight for you. He wants to be motivated, or he is motivated on things like property tax reform. I just find it laughable that Don Rainwater keeps doing this aw shucks me the victim routine And by the way, at least he's finally admitting it wasn't 30 years ago. At least we're finally off that lion's sack of crap that it wasn't 30 years ago.
And he's not saying it was an isolated incident either, because clearly it was not an isolated incident. You know, when he was on with on the Hammer and Nigel show, when he was talking with Ethan, he said he made some sort of comment like, if they're doing this to me, imagine what they think of you. Well, here's the difference. That's never happened to me, so it doesn't happen to every single Hoosier. And guess what? I'm not running for governor either.
Yeah, and so, but at least, so I hope if you're one of these people who believes Don was this just unfortunate victim, that the story has already crumbled. Because the story initially was I was some guy down on my luck because of a divorce. It was an isolated incident, and then I got back on my feet. Now we know that's crap. Now we know it wasn't 30 years ago. This guy filed for bankruptcy 15 years after he got divorced and racked up $100,000 according to the document that he filled out.
Consumer debt.
In mostly consumer debt. That is not, the child support's its own thing. How you get that far behind in child support is beyond me. And that, by the way, was well over a decade too. But this idea that the Republicans are bad guys for pointing out how this guy who wants to run the state. Oh, and by the way, his thing that he's some sort of miracle worker because he got over it in 15 years. He'd be in his 4th term as governor, Casey. So what if he runs the state into the ground, he'll get it figured out on his 4th term? Give me a break.
And isn't it interesting? And I can recall this for 2 years, being on the air here saying, why don't the Republicans fight back? Why don't they do anything? Why don't they ever say anything? Well, here they are fighting back. And, oh, they shouldn't have said that. Which is it? Which do you want?
Right.
Do you want him to fight back, or do you not want him to fight back?
Yeah, so all that to say, that was a hell of a promo we did there. Braun will be here at 9:40.
Wow. Mike Braun's coming in. We're charged up to see him. It's going to be good, right?
Let's go to Kurt Darling.
Okay, we've got the news on the way from 93 WIBC.
Piece of gold, peace of mind. That's why so many concerned Americans are adding gold to their portfolios. At American Bullion, we pioneered a fast and secure gold IRA process and can help you learn about and protect your current IRA or old 401k with the proven value of gold and silver. With dangerously rising unrest around the world, volatility in the economy, and upcoming elections, it's more critical than ever to consider protecting your portfolio with a gold IRA rollover. At American Bullion, our experienced team is here to guide you from A to Z. We do all the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Don't wait. Make the call. Protect your IRA or old 401k with our hassle-free and tax-free process. Call American Bullion today for your free gold guide and learn about all your options. Call 800-456-7475. That's 800-456-7475. 800-456-7475.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ray in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I needed to move in a hurry, so I was out the door into a new home, but left with the big problem of selling my old home with 2 mortgage payments fast approaching. I heard Mark Dietl was the answer, and I heard right. I was ecstatic when Mark sold my home for the price I needed in 2 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Many getting it out of the way.
Radar is clear. It's 47 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Early voting turnout has been way up this year, so says RNC Chairman Michael Watley.
Every single state where we've got voting going on, Republicans are turning out in drove. We're seeing it in Arizona. We're seeing it in Nevada. It sets us up to have a very, very strong election day.
In Indiana, over 500,000 people have voted early. The U.S. Postal Service says delivery of mail-in ballots is going well. USPS says that 99.9% of all mail-in ballots were delivered within 7 days during the first 3 weeks of October. Today is the last day that you can apply for a mail-in ballot here in Indiana. Speaking of the state, the latest polls show a tight governor's race between Republican Mike Braun and Democrat Jennifer McCormick. Braun says McCormick is too focused on abortion.
That's not going to fly in the long run because you got other things like child care, affordable housing, rural broadband, not to mention cost of electricity and water.
Braun, McCormick, and Donald Rainwater will be debating tonight at 7 o'clock. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Well, 2 of the 3 major equity averages are bouncing back. The Dow is down again, 47 to 42,691. The NASDAQ is back up 175 to 20,395. And the S&P 500 is up 27 to 5,864. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's not easy being a high schooler these days.
We juggle a lot each day between schoolwork, activities, jobs, and friends.
On top of all that, we're multi-sport student athletes. I'm Danae Klein, and I play volleyball, basketball, and softball for South Putnam High School.
And I'm Tyler Stanger, a wrestler and track and field student athlete at East Central High School.
It's hard physically and mentally exhausting yourself in practice.
It's hard coming back and doing it again the next day and the next and the next.
It's hard competing at a high level week in and week out.
But life is hard, and high school sports prepare us for it.
With every practice, every game, every win, and every loss.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports and the life lessons they teach by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is developing character, perseverance, and work ethic. This is preparing for life. This is your IHSAA.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. I know Bill and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom too. I don't put my name on any random Joe, but I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Rob, you have some political signs in your yard, don't you?
I do.
How many do you have?
2.
2. And I know you also have an American flag in your yard, right?
I do, and I have one of those lights.
Yeah.
So I'm in full compliance. I don't have to take it down.
And it's a solar light. So.
Gave proof through the night that the flag was still there in my front lawn. Yes, I have one of those lights, so it comes on when it goes dark, which puts me in full flag etiquette compliance.
Do you want to tell me who the political signs in your yard are for?
Well, absolutely. I have one for Mike Braun, and I have one for Gordon Hayward, who's running for school board in Brownsburg.
Okay. We've talked to both of those people.
We have, absolutely.
And we're going to talk to Mike Braun here in just a little bit. The reason I asked...
Is there a reason you're prying into my personal business?
Well, I want to know if...
By the way, real quick, I should tell you this. So, do you ever do that thing where you go on the internet and see, like, how much would my home be worth? Have you ever done that just for fun to see what they estimate? So, whatever... They all use the same picture. So, there's some... I don't know if it's Google or whatever they go... All these websites go off of. But whenever they took mine, it was the fall of 2022. So the photo of my house, there's like just a row of political signs in my front yard.
And that's forever what's going to be seen when you go to sell your house. You have to update that.
Oh, man. Anyway, sorry I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I'm just wondering, when you put those political signs in your yard, if anybody, maybe one of your neighbors, would ever walk up to the door, knock on the door, and then start yelling at you.
No, my neighbors all know who I am. They know my political beliefs. I believe all of my neighbors. I certainly know the one to the north and south of me and the two across the street from me. They all share my political leanings, so they're pretty. They're okay. They're on board. And everybody. Nice thing about where I live, of course, obviously, I live right next to the house I grew up in. So my dad's been there 38 years. The neighbor to the north of me has been there 22 years. The two neighbors across the street have both been there 45 years. Everybody watches out for each other. So if there's we all know when somebody's gone. We all know, how to get into each other's houses, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody keeps an eye on each other around my part of Brownsburg.
So no chance of some rando just walking by and screaming at you based on the signs that you have in your yard.
You know what's disappointing is not one person, not one political candidate has knocked on my door this year. And I'm talking in the primary or in the general election. I have not gotten to have one animated conversation with a candidate for public office.
I only had one. Justin Moab, Democrat from my district.
And did you talk to him?
I did talk to him. I took his flyer, everything like that. But the reason I ask is because this was circulating on the internet yesterday. No. This liberal has a complete meltdown because her neighbor is voting for Trump.
Hi. I want to know how you can vote.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Shameful. Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people? No, I haven't walked by recently. Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream. Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that? No. Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
That's
moral?
Exactly right. That's how your side acts.
Oh, my God. That's He's the most immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. God bless you.
Oh, she was not happy about that Trump sign.
I've never understood this. So, down the street from me, there's a person who is very, very, very liberal. Now, this person has all the BLM, Bernie Sanders, whatever. And it's sad. There's more and more of that in Brownsburg. It used to be a nice place to grow up and live. But they have signs for other people in their yards. Never in my entire life. And obviously we walk all the time and I walk past it. Never in my entire life have I been triggered by a sign, offended by a sign, felt the need to destroy a sign. The people who do that are beyond me. So in your world, the sign destroyers, so that's going to alter the election. I ripped that sign out of your yard, and now no one would know Trump's running for president if the sign wasn't in Fran's yard.
But can you imagine? Have you ever been tempted to walk up to that neighbor's door, knock on the door, and start yelling at them, and then have the whole thing caught on a ring?
No, like doorbell. The lady with the BLM and Bernie Sanders and Communist Fist and Eric Hilton sign in her yard. I know she has a mental illness of some sort, very likely.
So you stay away.
And I feel bad for her.
Rather than go engage.
I just don't feel the need to engage in that. Everybody has their own, it's your life. You can live it how you want. You can support who you want. Don't harm other people. Don't touch other people's stuff. I've never felt the need to mess with somebody else's stuff. I might think you're crazy. I might think that you have something seriously wrong with you. But in America, as long as you don't harm anybody else, that's your right.
But isn't it interesting, though, the woman who is arguing that he's the devil and the other woman says, well, he's the moral candidate. She starts dropping the F-bombs and starts getting really angry about that.
But that's the unhinged nature of these people, right? They cannot stand. It's why the people that hate us, right? You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to consume us. And yet people do who hate us every single day. It's the exist. It's the idea that person exists, and they can't stand that. They cannot stand that person exists.
All right, one more thing I wanted to share with you, and this is about independent voters. Rasmussen Reports put this out, and according to them with independent voters only, Trump is leading by 9 points. He's at 50%. Harris is at 41%. We talk about this independent, undetermined voter all the time.
Well, speaking of independent voters, there's going to be a lot that are going to be deciding our elections here in Indiana. And one guy trying to get those independent voters is Mike Braun. He'll join us next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show back at it, 3:06, the latest Delphi update. We're going to get Donnie Burgess back in studio at 5:06 for another update. Rob Kendall off the rails, 93 WIBC.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House. And I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
It's that time again, where we choose who we think is the best candidate for office. It's a difficult decision that requires the evaluation of contenders. Do they have the appropriate skills and experience for this office? Are they the right type of leader? Do they have a clear vision? Selecting the right candidate is no easy feat. That's why, for your office, there's ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes choosing the right candidate for any office easy because they only find and send you the most qualified people for your roles. Best of all, they do it fast. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, while you're thinking about that really big decision, rest assured that any other hiring decision will be much easier when you use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
To learn more, eligible members call 87 Pathway 4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC, and joining us in the studio is Senator Mike Braun. Big night tonight. You've got a debate coming up.
It's a big night. It'll be the third, and we've had lots of gubernatorial forums that even preceded the debates. And, of course, I did 4 of them 6 years ago leading up through the primary, and then did 2 in the general election. And I've been debating for the last 6 years on a much different stage where every day you feel like you're in a debate trying to represent our values out there. So I actually like doing them. So
we talked about this the other night at the event we did with Micah, which, by the way, people made a big deal about that Micah had an event. You were totally fine with that. You guys communicated that together. That was a non-thing that Micah had his own event.
That's a non-thing all along the way. Right. I've known Micah since he's brought his conservative leadership group out to D.C. almost every year, and of course I speak to them. So that is mostly what the other side of the aisle will use. When you're purely negative in your approach, you grab anything you can get. They do, know how to manipulate that narrative. Yeah. And just like in elections in the past, especially on the general side of it, Chuck Schumer and Soros dumped $30 million into my moment of euphoria after you win the primary for 5 months because I'm a business owner, therefore I'm heartless, a liar, and a hypocrite. Yeah. That was a barrage. This is pretty light compared to that.
Okay, so we talked about this at that event, that one of the challenges I think you have is you are paying for the sins of Holcomb, in the sense of there's a lot of Republicans who got really angry clearly in 2020 that went and voted for Rainwater over the mask mandates, the lockdowns, the business closures. You don't support any of that. You've said you would not support any of that, but you're still paying for a lot of that. And so I'm curious, in the campaign trail, how is it going winning those people back?
So it's, first of all, has to do with so many politicians say one thing and they do the opposite once they get into office. Issues like term limits, issues like balanced budget amendments. I've been on that. And the thing I think you don't get when you're in a different arena, I was the freshman Senate office that railed against the COVID vaccine, mandating it, especially on employers down to 100 employees. That was our office. It always amazes me how hard it is to take your actions and parlay it into what people think you're doing. There could not be any bigger difference in the terms of the way I would have navigated through it. And the proof is in the pudding with my record as a senator. So I think that is why when there's a lingering protest vote against a different approach that you had nothing to do with, and everything in your background and your record says otherwise, you got to litigate it accordingly. It's a protest vote that's out there, and that's a mistake because it helps liberal Jennifer McCormick.
Yeah, I get blamed for stuff Casey does all the time, and it's just not fair. So what do you say to these people? Like, how do you say, hey, wait, you can't, this is not. I'm not him. Like, how do you make that pitch?
Well, since 2/3 of it would be a protest vote, you got to make sure that they understand that you are a fighter, that you would have never done that. My style is understating and overperforming. I've had to do that my entire life. You got to get used to that. That's not your typical politician either. But ask my opponents in the primary in the Senate race. Joe Donnelly, we were behind most of that race, ended up winning by 6. Rowdy primary. When your own party is out there calling you a rhino squish. I mean, people laughed at that, but there are enough people that can believe it. So you got to get through all of it. And I've done that in the real world, 37 years, outmaneuvering all my competitors to build a little business into a regional and a national one. People that know me aren't worried about that. It's up to us to make sure that here in the stretch, people that understand it, that still have doubts. And we'll make that case tonight, and we'll make that case over the next...
Tonight. You got to bring the heat tonight. I told Mike last night, I said, Braun's got to bring the heat.
And I've got the heat, and I'll dispense it at the right time. And and it's not that I haven't done it in the past.
It is Senator Mike Braun who's joining us. You've got the big governor's debate tonight. And I have seen you, watched video, probably very boring to the average person, but I've seen video of you hammering away during oversight committees and with the OEB and things like that in Washington. And Rob was saying that, Hoosiers want to believe that you're willing to fight for them. So let's talk about the fight that has had a lot of attention recently, and that is those ads that dropped against Rainwater. How did you feel about that?
So when you've got someone that is there as a protest vote, and you're lobbying all these things about the Republican Party being derelict in its responsibility, not necessarily even aimed at me, but then when you're trying to parlay that into me, when it's quite the opposite. I think that you're going to sooner or later get the comeuppance from it. And I think that's information that ought to be out there. And when you're doing it kind of sanctimoniously, like you have nothing there, sooner or later, I mean, that was $30 million of negative ads when Schumer and Soros came at me. This is mild, and what he's getting is just an exposing of a record. On that, they were making up a narrative that you're a heartless liar and a hypocrite. So it's once you get into the arena, sadly, it's litigated that way. And if it's sanctimonious, it's definitely going to come at you. That was a state Republican Party. They had to approve it, but he was indicting everyone, including me. Now you're getting a dose of your own medicine.
Yeah, and I think one of the things Rainwater was on with Tony today, and he said something that it was like, in his mind, this was some sort of gotcha moment. And it's like, no, you just made the case for voting for Mike Braun. He said, well, I think they're doing it because they want to get over 50% so that they can have a mandate. No kidding, buddy. I want you to have a mandate. And the reality is he just made the point that we've been trying to make on this show for months now, which is if you want the property tax issue fixed, you got to not only go in there, you got to go in there with the mandate because you got to drive that agenda.
And, he talks about, well, I was the first to talk about it. But when your plan has zero opportunity to hit pay dirt because you're at 8 to 9%, because it's a lingering protest vote. In the last election, it was 11 to 12, and we're whittling that down because of the fact that that doesn't make sense. And we were the first to come out with a formal plan that actually has a chance to reverberate with a supermajority legislature that I think I can get along with. And if we get that done, that'll be the single most important thing that's been on the minds of Hoosiers over the last couple of years.
And real quick, and I know Casey wants to pop in here. Here's what a uniter Mike Braun is. He's brought Rob Kendall and the establishment GOP together, and we're speaking at events. And I mean, wouldn't this just be a great harmonious 4 years for everyone involved? Wouldn't this just be wonderful?
Well, only if things get done. It could be a very, pleasant couple weeks. But after the election, that's when we went to hold our politicians accountable, right, Rob?
Absolutely.
And I love it. You can do that. That's a great thing to have as your key interest. Because, like I said earlier, so many of them say it and then get amnesia once they get elected.
So many people are saying after those Rainwater ads dropped that it's because your campaign is nervous.
Well,
would you like to speak about that?
I don't get nervous about anything. If you don't have a good plan that you're proud of, that's based upon good principles, that you execute every day of your life, whether it's in a business or running for office, and you can see business is easier in the sense that it's stretched over a long period of time. It's harder because your financial butt's on the line. Politics has two hard deadlines, May and November. And I know how to navigate through that. And this has got its own characteristics. 6 years ago, a little deja vu. I mean, we were behind in all the polls, ended up beating Donnelly by 6 points. And that was the hardest navigation because you had the big boys coming in and pounding you. Here, we've had a lead from the get-go, but you lift Biden off the ticket. All of a sudden, they levitate up 5 to 7 points. We've taken that into account. You've got the issue of the rowdy primary, where your own side comes at you. You got to fight through it. And then Rainwater out there still getting that protest vote that has no relevance to the fact that when you look at my record in the Senate, it's one of the fiscally most conservative. It's also got a libertarian streak to it. I don't like big government and regulation, and everything about my record shows that. So you got to fight through it, make the case. We close the deal on the debates this evening, and over the next under 2 weeks, we'll make it clear. This time 6 years ago, I was behind, not ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things, too, is the early voting numbers are showing that at least, you don't have party affiliation in the sense of how you register, but it's how you vote, that it's overwhelmingly Republican primary voters in early voting that are coming out to vote. And how much of that is Trump, and how much does your endorsement from Trump do you think helps you because Trump has said, hey, you're my guy?
Well, I mean, he came in for 4 rallies. I rode in the Beast with him on the first one from South Bend to Elkhart.
What an experience.
We'll do another 15 minutes to a half an hour on that. That was an amazing moment. So I endorsed him. He endorsed me. Styles, clearly different. He gives a lot of material for the competition to work with. I try to minimize it. But he represents over half the country pissed off with business as usual. When he got elected, they came at him. Now he's going to win again. You know, my story is similar, that you've had to come from nowhere, building a business and in politics. And once you do it, like I told my wife, we were 1% in the first poll.
Yeah.
Back when I ran in the primary. And I said, when you win in a landslide, that means 4 out of 10 people either dislike you or disagree with you, or probably both. Get used to it. It's not like when you run a business and you generally feel like you've done a good job. This is a different game.
All right, we got to go. Last parting request. Just bring the heat tonight. Bring that heat.
Yeah.
We want to be throwing
enthusiasm.
Fireworks. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, there's not going to be any lack of it coming at me. And when you throw it at me, you're going to get it back.
Get it back. The debate starts at 7 o'clock tonight. Thank you, Mike Braun. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before October 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is October 30th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Looking for a fun, friendly alternative to spooky neighborhood trick-or-treating? Join us for Trunk or Treat. At Life Church, we're creating a safe, welcoming space for families. Enjoy a night filled with decorated trunks, tasty treats, games, and community fun, all without the fright. Dress up in your favorite costumes and make lasting memories with friends and neighbors in a cheerful atmosphere. This year, skip the scary and join us for a night of laughter and joy instead. Go to lifechurchin.com for times and locations.
Get in gear with fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75300. See dealer for complete details.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter. You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
Coming up in 2 minutes, more about the Delphi murders trial, which continues today. Plus, Ryan Hedrick reports on a fatal shooting that happened in Speedway overnight. And the Indiana Pacers, they're off to a good start to the NBA regular season. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios. After Fox News Radio at the top of the hour, you're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
More than 25 million Americans have already voted. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and people in Maryland are joining them. Early in-person voting started there this morning, but the race for the White House keeps running through toss-up states.
Our country is being destroyed and crippled by Kamala Harris.
That was at a Trump rally in Georgia. The vice president at a town hall in Pennsylvania called him a fascist, agreeing with former Trump White House Chief of Staff John Kelly.
And frankly, I think of it as he's just putting out a 911 call to the American people. Understand what could happen if Donald Trump were back in the White House.
Border security was an issue at both events. The former president said,
"When I win on November 5th, the migrant invasion of our country ends and the restoration of our country begins."
Now, the vice president told CNN's Anderson Cooper,
"We have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Harris will rally today in Georgia. Trump will campaign in Arizona and Nevada. A message to the Israelis a week after they killed Hamas's leader. From Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in Qatar.
You've completed your mission. Now end the war.
Making sure that October 7th and the horrors can never happen again by effectively dismantling the military organization of Hamas. It succeeded in doing that.
Secretary Blinken says negotiators will get together in the coming days. He's also announced an extra $135 million in aid for Palestinians.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. An Israeli airstrike in Gaza today killed at least 17 more Palestinians. We have an update on unemployment. First-time jobless claims dropped about 6% last week, but the number of Americans continuing to collect unemployment benefits rose to a nearly three-year high, 1.9 million. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
On today's 6, radar is clear, 49 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The Delphi murders trial has resumed in Carroll County today. Yesterday saw testimony from a few witnesses that were in the area of the Monon High Bridge the day that the murders happened. Lawyers also questioned the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsies on Abby Williams and Libby German. Richard Allen is the man accused of killing them. Crime scene tape and homicide detectives. That's what some people saw in a neighborhood this morning on the west side. Ryan Hedrick.
The neighborhood is located just off of 10th Street along North Norfolk Street, and it seems like a quiet neighborhood. In fact, as you drive along, all you see is neighborhood watch signs. But early this morning, police were called out because they heard several gunshots. By the time they got there, it was too late. A man had been shot several times through a passenger window in a car. Police are still looking into this. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
500,000 Hoosiers have voted already in the upcoming November election. Hoosiers like Sherry Cornforth in Indianapolis.
This is one of the privileges that the military defends, is the right to vote.
Talking to Wish TV, today is the last day that you can apply for a mail-in ballot. That deadline, 11:59 local time tonight. Election day is November 5th. Early voting will cease at noon on November 4th. Attorney General Todd Rokita threatening to sue two police departments in Indiana, one in South Bend and the other in Seymour. He says unless they can prove they've been in compliance with state laws banning sanctuary cities, he'll take them to court, accusing them of violating state immigration laws. The Pacers played from behind for much of their opening night against the Pistons last night, but they were able to get out ahead when it accounted in a 115-109 victory.
Things were difficult the entire night, and yet we kept our emotions in check. We kept the energy within Guys were encouraging each other.
Head coach Rick Carlisle, Indiana now heads to New York to face the Knicks on Friday. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Community Health Network cares for your heart health. From heart scans and vascular screenings to complex heart procedures, you can count on our expert team for the highest quality cardiovascular care, when and where you need it. Your path to a healthy heart starts with knowing your risk. Schedule a heart scan or vascular screening today. Visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care. Simply delivered.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 24th. It's 6 minutes after 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Can you share with the class?
No.
Okay.
Here's what we'll do. I'll share with you off at the break, and then you can decide whether we share with the class.
Determine if we need to share with the class? Okay.
Because, like, me from 5 years ago would totally share this with the class. Me from now thinks I probably need to seek some sort of permission, adult supervision.
I'm proud of you.
Sharing with, because I think this is hilarious. But
well, for everybody who's not getting this inside joke during the break, Rob just starts laughing. And I'm like, and then it was time to go on the air. I have no idea what you're laughing about.
Well, okay, so this is the sort of thing where it's like, this is a story that I read it. It's like a legitimate news story, and it's totally something I think we should talk about. But I do recognize that I am a leader to many people, and I always want to present myself in the topics that we cover in the utmost level of professionalism.
We got to run it through the spin cycle first, right?
I don't know how I would present this topic with the utmost level of professionalism. However, one thing we can present with professionalism is how ridiculous it is that after they've been doing this every year since 2004, the Democrat candidate for president has some sort of bevy of musicians come in for him or her to do these concerts, and they have yet to prove that it makes any difference whatsoever. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. These people keep doing the same things, and it appears to be basically 50-50 in the results, right?
Okay, so when Kamala Harris took the day off, was that yesterday or the day before? She's taken a couple days
off. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You're
13 days. I'm going to take the day off.
I'm going to need a day off.
I'm going to need a day. So she took the day off, and she had her surrogate, Barack Obama, in Detroit on her behalf. And they also brought Eminem onto that stage as well. I don't know what you thought about this. I just got to get your opinion. Here's Obama quoting Eminem.
My palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
So that was on the teleprompter, by the way.
So we're led to believe that the guy who grew up in Hawaii and had an Ivy League education, and is now a gajillionaire, he's really in touch with the things that Marshall Mathers was singing about from 1998 through about 2003 or 4. Like he's he's totally in tune with that. 8 Mile is Obama, baby.
I used to drive 8 Mile when I would work in downtown Detroit. I bartended at a place called Captain's for a while. And actually, I believe it's 695. One of the interstates wasn't quite built yet. And so I would drive down 8 Mile. Different experience than, like you said, growing up in Hawaii or going to an Ivy League college.
Well, and isn't it this thing of, okay, so Obama runs in 08 and he's this phenomenon, and anybody with an ounce of common sense could see right through it. But, mass hypnosis hits the, look at Taylor Swift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Beatles. Look at, there's a bevy of times throughout American history where head injury / mass hypnosis has made the American public fall in love with something, and despite there being little rhyme or reason for it. And then by 2012, you're like, okay, this guy didn't follow through on any of that. The country's more divided than it's ever been. He's a flamethrower. He wins re-election because Romney is such a horrible candidate and doesn't stand for anything. And then the media, of course, went in the middle of a debate, just started campaigning for Barack Obama. But it's like, okay, you didn't follow through on any of the things you said. You weren't the thing that you said. And at this point, is even a needle mover? Like if Obama's somewhere, is that can't miss? Hey, people are flooding in to be a part of that. I mean, I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. So you've got Kamala, who's bringing in people like Obama. She reportedly paid Lizzo $2.3 million to perform at one of her rallies.
Wait, she paid her?
That's what it was reported. Now, that's alleged at this point.
Oh, I thought this was something where it was like, hey, I'm really supporting you, so I'm going to,
out of the goodness of her heart, to show up.
No, she got paid?
Well, that's what she got to do that fundraising, right?
Lizzo was fundraising.
She had Usher on stage, and, he's been embroiled in all the Diddy stuff that's going on. His name has been dropped with that circle of news.
Well, and isn't it wild? He was on The View not that long ago, and he was like, I basically saying, I don't do politics. It's not a me thing.
Right, and then a week later,
all of a sudden, his name starts surfacing in the Diddy investigation, and all of a sudden, boy, wouldn't you know who's out there campaigning for Kamala? Usher.
And then you've
got the moves to make your booty go smack.
And then you've got Eminem out there, and of course now Bruce Springsteen.
Well, let's talk about Eminem for a second, because isn't it wild how, and I kind of feel the same way about Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. These people who the premise of their music was, I am against the machine. I am against the power structure. I am against the status quo. I am like you. Now, they spoke to different audiences, but the crux of Marshall Mathers, there's a line in the song, I'm just a regular guy. I don't know why all this fuss about me. All that stuff in the late 90s that he was putting out, that guy would be ashamed of that guy that was on stage the other day, right?
He was on stage for like a minute and a half.
Well, what's he going to do? Talk about Ukrainian policy? What's he going to do? Lay out a concrete plan to secure the southern border? I mean, come on.
Well, this is the question. So they've got people like that, all these musicians, and then you've got Trump, who brings in Elon Musk and Antonio Brown and, the football players. So which one is going to have more sway?
Well, okay, so there's a difference here. So like what's her name? Kamala
Harris.
They all just run together at this point. What Kamala Harris is doing is the same playbook that John Kerry used it in 2004. It didn't work. Obama used it in 2008. It did work. Hillary used it in 2016. It didn't work. So, I mean, it's a mix. There's no correlation between these musicians doing these mega concerts, because the thinking was in 2004, Kerry was the first one to do it. If you remember, it was like REM, it was Springsteen, it was John Fogerty was involved, maybe Pearl Jam. There were a whole bunch of and they did them at various locations across the country. And the thought was, oh my gosh, there's this wave of star power that's coming in a close race behind John Kerry, and the public's going to be overwhelmed by this, and Bush is going to lose the election. Well, Bush won the election. It wasn't all that close. And you kind of realized then, hey, people don't vote based on celebrities. And they keep doing this. Now, it does help them raise money. Obviously, all the money that people are going to buy these tickets or whatever, and it does get media attention. And, hey, Bruce Springsteen was playing for Kamala Harris. but there's no proof whatsoever that it moves the needle. Now, what Trump is doing that's different, and we've talked about this numerous times, but I know because, well, we're number one, that we have many, many new listeners at all times. He is creating, he's bringing in people that while do they have the name power of a Eminem or a Bruce Springsteen? No, but Eminem and Bruce Springsteen are not appealing to any new people. There's no new, we were talking about this yesterday. There's a new documentary coming out on Bruce Springsteen that's on Hulu. I think it comes in Disney Plus, comes out tomorrow. And it's kind of going behind the scenes when he restarted this tour, first time in 6 or 7 years, and goes behind the scenes, and it'll probably be pretty interesting. But he does this interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC to promote this documentary he's doing, and I watched it the other day. And Stephanopoulos asked him, he said, "You've kind of cut the politics out of your concerts. Why did you do that?"
Yeah.
And he does this, and Bruce is the master of this, right? He's been doing it for 40 years, and he's made a gajillion dollars doing it, the aw shucks, I'm just one of you approach. And he basically does this, aw shucks, I think people probably know my political leanings now, and I'd like to think in a country that like the United States, people could come enjoy my music even if we have different political leanings. And I shouted at the TV as loud as I could. No one loves Bruce more than me. I said, bull. I said, that's straight bull. You stopped doing it because people stopped going to your shows, and people were booing you at your shows because they didn't want to hear it. Right? People don't want to hear it. And the people that are going to go see Springsteen or Eminem or Lizzo or whoever, they're either indifferent to it and they just want to go see the show, or they already have the same political leanings and you're not moving. Whereas Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell, it's a much smaller group of people, but they're targeting black men who like football, right? They're targeting black men who are unhappy with the condition of the country. It's a very small group of people, but in a state where 10,000 votes like Pennsylvania could decide the whole thing, they're actually way more important than Bruce Springsteen filling up whatever stadium that they're going to go to and do this concert, because you're moving pockets of people that are going to make the difference in the outcome of the election.
Okay, so one thing that Barack Obama was asking was, why are we so toxic? How did we get here?
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter. And I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention to it. And we all have friends like that. We have family members who are just like, it's all a circus out there. I get that.
Yeah. He was the one who called Republicans bitter clingers, clinging to their guns and their religion. Do you remember that?
But you didn't build that guy. That you are how we got there. You are the person who pissed me. Barack Obama was such a divisive person that the country elected Donald Trump. He was so bad at his job that the country elected Donald Trump. Barack Obama is the reason things got the way they are. Barack Obama is the reason things got amplified. And these people lie out their backside. I mean, the sociopathic, narcissistic nature of these people to be able to stand in front of thousands of their fellow humans and say these things as though they have no idea how it happened, when the reality is they are the reason it happened.
Look in the mirror. Okay, so yesterday, Kamala Harris held this emergency 3-minute press conference to call Trump literally Hitler, and then went on CNN a few hours later and said that she was calling for unity. And Barack Obama wants to know how we got so toxic.
All right, let's take a break. When we go to the break, I'm going to tell you this
the
topic
story that
I
you were
was
laughing at.
reading about, and whether we should discuss it, or I'm sure you have something else fabulous if you say, Rob, that's not going to fly.
Just in case. I always have a just in case. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Galloway for a three. Renewed. Throws it up and in, and a foul. For a three, yes. And a block row.
Mike Goodson has an exciting roster of veterans, transfers, and freshmen, and the Hoosiers start the season with an exhibition against 12th-ranked Tennessee in Knoxville. Sunday, John Herrick has the pregame starting at 2. Don Fisher with the tip at 3. On your home for IU basketball, 93 WIBC.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with a market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Dee and Andrew in Noblesville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were done with the rat race and ready to live the dream of buying a camper and traveling west. We needed top cash from our home to make that dream work. Thankfully, we hired Mark Dietl, who delivered big time. Our home sold for our asking price in 4 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
All right, so you think we can do this?
Yeah, I think you're clear.
Okay. So it's the Kendall and Casey show. Rob Casey's here. So at the top of the hour, I was perusing the internet, and actually it was on Twitter. There was an article, and I had read it, and I was chuckling about it. And I had told Casey, said, we have to go to break. I can ask you if you think this would be an appropriate topic for us to cover. And you, as the voice of reason on this show, have said, yes, this is interesting enough, and it is appropriate that we could cover. All right.
Yeah, we could talk about this.
So I was reading this brief article about a person who at one point was a relatively famous adult film star. And this person now has gotten married and I believe has a child. And this person was lamenting the fact that they are now desiring to live this separate, quiet life
out of the adult entertainment industry.
And yet the things that they have done
live on.
And this is not a new thing. I mean, there's many adult film stars who have done this. And I was just chuckling to myself because this person, I believe, is like 30, maybe early 30s. So it's not like a person who grew up in the 50s who didn't know the internet would be around. Like, this person's whole life is the internet. Kev, you're 29, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, as a child, you were familiar with the internet and you grew up with the internet and you knew, hey, this thing is probably sticking around, right? Like,
yeah, I feel like I had a hunch that would be the case.
So the me so stupid,
shouldn't be surprised.
Me have no idea this was going to last forever. I don't think that exactly flies. And the idea that you just want all your stuff to be deleted off the internet, I don't know why. That just kind of made me chuckle.
Kind of like a tattoo, right? You really got to think that through.
Well, you do. And it is interesting, even if you just branch off the idea of talking about adult film stars to the point of decisions that, because there's so many of these people now because of TikTok and Instagram. What are these things on the Facebook? Reels? Are those things?
Yeah, Reels.
Reels. They're like little videos.
Yeah, that's from Instagram.
Where anybody can make something and you just start popping up in people's feeds now because of these algorithms. You no longer even have to try to consume someone's content.
Right.
And now you become seen by so many people, so anything you do can be consumed by complete strangers at any given moment. And I don't think in the quest for attention, younger people are quite processing, hey, that thing's going to stick around forever.
For a long time.
And you're going to be held to some level of account for that thing for quite some time.
Yeah. And okay, so this woman that you're referring to, she's talking about regret about her choices that she made in the past and having that stuff out there, right? And regret, well, that can be, it's very much like nostalgia. It can
I
be,
love our YouTube chat.
It can be a powerful and painful emotion because it's like you're looking at choices that you've made.
Oh, our listeners are the best. They just named her in the YouTube chat. No description whatsoever. Boom. There you go. That's the,
somebody Googled the article.
That's the Kendall Casey show audience. But I didn't mean to cut you out there, but I saw that. I said, by the way, you can watch us on the YouTube if you'd like. Just put Kendall and Casey into your YouTube browser. We can assure you no adult content going on the Kendall and Casey
Other than
show.
discussion of it.
Well, but it is interesting. Like I said, if you branch off of that, there's so many of these younger, what I would almost call, like, I don't mean to make this just a frank discussion about this industry, but it used to be, hey, if you were going to be an adult film star, you had to go. It was almost like walking through Hollywood in the sense of there were a select group of large manufacturers who produced the content. You had to have an agent. You had to go through those people. You had to get found. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it was very similar to Hollywood in that sense.
But now with OnlyFans, anybody out there can just make their own content.
Right, that's correct.
And this goes back to the conversation that we have time and time again, Rob, is that not everybody should have a platform.
Well, and so
many times they don't know how to handle it.
You do wonder, because what I was going to say with that is, if you chose to be in the adult film industry even 20 years ago, or even 15-ish years ago, it was a conscientious choice. You were kind of working into that. There was a stepping stone. There was a ladder that you would go through by which you're making choices over time to be able to do this. It would usually start as modeling, and then it would elevate from there. Now, because of, like you said, whether it's OnlyFans or people can put this on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, anybody can be whatever they say they want to be without any sort of thought process or anything. And hey, congratulations, you're famous for a few months, or you're famous for a few days, and now that's stuck with you forever.
Right. Well, I'm curious as to why she wants all of her stuff to come down. Is it because she wants to protect her spouse?
Have you Googled?
No. Not at work. Is it because she wants to protect her child? Think about this. She wants it down now, but in 20, 30 years from now, when posterity kicks in, maybe she'll be, wow, I looked good back then.
It's interesting because and you're a little bit more life experienced than I am by a few years.
Day or two.
But did you find when you became a parent that your life, in terms of the realization of how complex and generally, what's the word I'm looking for here? Complex and generally serious the nature of living is, it just elevated itself to a new level once you become a parent?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're responsible for another whole human being. There are still things that I won't put out on the internet.
Right.
Because of my daughter. Like, I don't want to embarrass her or be cringy.
Right. And
I can't imagine what it would feel like to have my whole naked body out there.
And so I think any person, because you've lived a pretty exemplary life in terms of, obviously.
As far as you know.
Well, as far as I want to know. Don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
But in terms of you're having those feelings. Now imagine if you were doing the things that this person was doing, and then you have this metamorphosis, and yet there it always is, and at some point there's going to be a moment where
you're going to have to explain it to somebody.
You're going to have to explain. It's like I always write in this journal I keep for my daughter each day. I've written, sometimes if there's no big events, I just give life thoughts. And I said, at some point you're going to learn about me. and you're going to learn about who I was and what I stood for. Now, there's nothing that I did in terms of, obviously not doing adult films or anything like that. The things you're going to find on me on the internet are about
not to that extreme.
My political beliefs, the things I've done, the broadcasts I've done. But I'm becoming more and more cognizant of that, too, as I put content out there that, hey, someday my kid, hopefully kids down the road, plural, are going to learn about me, and I want to be more aware of that. Now, there's nothing out there on the internet that passes like, oh, it's not adult films or anything like that, but it's like I do now want to be more aware of the presentation that I put forward.
Well, the good news is that day normally doesn't come until that child is more of an adult themselves.
Yeah, if you don't give them the internet.
But you can't undo the past. What you can only do is control what's already out there. So you make better choices going forward, and you got to own it. This is something you did. You can't just delete it. So be honest about it.
You know who I bet has never deleted anything off the internet, Casey?
Kurt Darling.
Kurt Darling.
Yeah. He's next with your news update on 93 WIBC.
So this new dose is... Nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says, mission accomplished. Radar is clear, 52 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. That's what the Secretary of State has to say to Israel as he encourages a ceasefire. Fox's Jonathan Savage.
You've completed your mission. Now end the war. Secretary of State Antony Blinken with a message to Israel. He's been speaking in Qatar.
Making sure that October 7th and the horrors can never happen again by effectively dismantling the military organization of Hamas. It succeeded in doing that.
Secretary Blinken says negotiators will get together in the coming days. He's also announced an extra $135 million in aid for Palestinians. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
McDonald's says it believes sliced onions may have been the cause of an E. coli outbreak that killed one man and sickened about 50 others. The chain says that the onions came from a single source and were delivered to restaurants raw. McDonald's has pulled all the sliced onions and beef patties used for their quarter-pounder burgers in the affected areas. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Fall in India is great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint. And the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house and all the pillars. And once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Planes, trains, automobiles, and motorcycles. If you've spent a lot of time working or playing around loud vehicles, you may have trouble hearing on the telephone. Get back in gear with Relay Indiana, providing telephone accessibility to the hard of hearing. Relay Indiana allows hearing-impaired callers to have normal phone conversations through voice recognition technology. And there's loaned equipment for those who qualify. Add clarity back in your phone conversations. Get the CapTel captioned telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com.
Are you concerned about rising gasoline taxes? I'm Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. Hoosiers currently pay sales tax and excise tax on gasoline to the state. No one should pay two taxes for gasoline. So my plan is to abolish the gasoline excise tax in Indiana. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message, paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
The phone number to get involved, 317-684-8444. It is time for your voicemails with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Questions, comments, smart remarks, or whatever is on your mind. And this morning, on Tony's mind, who is a truck driver, he listens while he's working. I believe he said he was in Iowa. He wanted to talk about Donald Rainwater.
My question to you is, why is this guy avoiding you like a guy avoiding child support payments or something? It's weird. It's weird. I was behind child support once, and, well, I'm man enough to admit it, and I may not have been all that great with my money management, but I'm better now. Just takes time, but you have to admit it. You just have to admit it. Like I said, I don't want to bring up the old stories, the old wounds, but hearing that he's coming on there and he's avoiding you guys, answering the tough questions, I mean, come on. Are they going to ask him those questions tonight in the debate? I doubt it. But if they do, I'll be happy. But anyway, that's all I had to say. I love you guys' show. I love listening to you. Your takes are great. I have tons of analogies I'd love to share with you, but I'm not going to because that'll take too long. And I'm just trying to pass the time. So you guys have a great day. Be blessed. And remember, Jesus is the Lord.
Deleted.
Okay. So there you go.
So,
and he's right, 100%.
He was on. He's talking about Donald Rainwater and how he was on with Ethan when Ethan filled in on the Hammer and Nigel show, and now he was on with Tony Katz this morning.
That's correct. So he will go on every show now but ours. Look, the Rainwater stuff, people are going to vote how they're going to vote. And there are some people, as we talked with Braun earlier, who are going to be so mad at the Republicans over the past 8 years of Holcomb that they're going to vote if it were a human foot. If, like, the option on the ballot said human foot, they would vote for it over the Republicans, and you're not going to convince those people. So I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the reasonable people who rightfully so were disappointed in Holcomb and the Republicans and voted for Rainwater in 2020.
It's a different story this time.
This guy is no different than the people he claims to loathe. Look at how his story's fallen apart. Look at how he shape-shifted on the story from the beginning. Now, he shape-shifted because he didn't think the evidence was out there, was going to end up in my hands to totally blow up his story. So now at least we're off. It was an isolated incident. It was 30 years ago. I was some guy down on my luck. Now we know it was 15 years ago. Now we know it was over many, many years. Now we know it wasn't an isolated incident. And, you know, look, when people, it's the dishonesty That is the thing that sets me off with these politicians is the dishonesty and the lack of transparency. And look at what he's doing. His story is crumbled. If he lied to you about that, what else will he lie to you about? And he's running from us. For 5 years, the guy used us anytime he wanted to get something out there, and then he knew he was going to get some hard questions, and now he'll go on every single other show on this station but ours. I didn't do this. Don did this. And if that's what you want running your state, if that's what your idea of good government, look, Mike Braun, I'm not a Mike Braun super fan by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're going to compare the competency of a guy who built an incredible business and a multi-million-dollar company over many, many, many years to what we're dealing with Donald Rainwater, who not only is you wouldn't let him run your Little League concession stand, much less manage your finance. I mean, so his story is, well, it took me 15 years. I got it fixed. So that'd be your fourth term, buddy. So if you run the state into the ground, by your fourth term, you'll figure it out. But it's the deception, the deflection, the lack of transparency, and now the cowardice. Donald Rainwater is a coward, and if you want deception, if you want deflection, if you want an absolute coward to run your state, then vote for Donald Rainwater.
Do you think this will come up during the debate tonight, which is being hosted by the Indiana Debate Commission? Debate starts at 7 o'clock.
I don't know. They got an hour, and it depends on kind of the formatics. I don't know. He's not... I mean, he's only relevant in the sense of he is peeling votes away from Braun, but I don't think he peels enough votes away from Braun that he makes a difference in the election. I think he makes a difference in the total Braun's going to get, but I don't think he makes a difference in terms of whether Braun is going to win or lose. Look, for all the huffing and puffing about Democrat momentum and Democrat this and Democrat that, there's been 2 nonpartisan public polls come out. They've shown Braun with an 8 to 11 point lead. There's not been a single, if the Democrats had something that showed something different. For all this huffing and puffing,
it would be plastered everywhere.
Well, Abdul came out with this, there's this Puff the Magic Dragon poll that nobody's seen, and I haven't seen it. No, I couldn't tell you who did it.
It's a super secret double probation poll.
Give me a break. Braun is winning. And people are going to vote how they're going to vote, but the reality is, if you want your property taxes fixed, you have one shot. If that's not a big deal to you, then you can vote for Rainwater in protest, or if on-demand abortion advocacy is your thing, you can vote for McCormick. But if you're a serious person who says, I want my property taxes fixed, we got to get this under control, you got one option, and it's Braun.
So I think the only way it comes up tonight is if Braun pivots to it in one of his answers. We'll see.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Rainwater's relevant enough. I think the ads speak for themselves. I think people know about it. I think they know the guy's a coward and he's a fraudster and he's a total liar. I mean, the idea that he kept that thing up, that it was an isolated incident and that I was some guy down
until
on my
they doubled
luck.
down and said, "Oh no, there's more."
Yeah, I mean, and there's way more. They could run a mailer a day on that guy. I mean, so anyway, what's next?
We've got another phone call. This from Sue. She wants to rail on Kamala Harris for a minute.
They have this chick up for president, Kamala, and it's buyer's remorse totally. She didn't even primary, and now they're second-guessing that he probably should have left Biden in there. That's what cracks me up. But this is why you don't need these people running our country. They can't even figure out who's in charge half the time. Kamala wants to fix the border. Well, you were in charge of the border for 4 years, honey. You could have fixed it those 4 years. What are you going to do to it now? It's just craziness. I can't believe that the polls are right, that the election is as close as it is, because there's that many stupid people in the world that's going, or at least the U.S., that's going to vote for this chick. We're in trouble.
Okay, so it's identity politics, and there's a reason that people do it, because it still works, because there are still people out there who just vote because, she's a woman, I'm a woman, and I want a female president.
It's a divided country. Right. I mean, the reality is it's a divided country, and every election going forward is going to be close. And maybe Trump is up. I mean, Todd Meyer was adamant yesterday, and he knows politics pretty well. He thinks Trump is way ahead. I don't think that's the case. I think the numbers, like in Pennsylvania, are not necessarily great in the early voting. But does that mean they're not going to show up and overwhelm on election day? No. So you're not going to know until, I guess, in the case of like Pennsylvania and Michigan, days after the election.
We did get a phone call. We're not going to air it, but somebody did call and said that they voted early and they waited in line in Fishers for about an hour and a half.
Well, isn't that weird? Because I think Jim Merritt said yesterday that he voted and he was in and out in 2 minutes. So I think it's all where you...
Right, depends on where you go.
It's all where you vote. I have always had the theory, if you vote later, even if you're voting early, let people wear themselves out. Get through as many people as you can. and then, just drive past there one day and maybe you'll find a little quick spot to dash in and out.
Somebody wanted to call quickly, and then Hammer's going to join us and talk about the attack ads against Don Rainwater.
This message is for Mike Braun and Micah Beckworth. Stop the stupid attack ads on Rainwater and McCormick. I don't care. They're gross. They're disgusting, and I'm sick and tired of hearing them. Instead, tell me what you're going to do about our gross, disgusting roads, our confiscatory fuel taxes, and our homeowners tax. Other than that, shut the heck up.
Well, that's fine. If you don't want to know about people who are running for public office, if that makes you upset, I guess. I mean, look, Braun and Beckwith are not running the ads. It's the state party.
Right.
I think you and I both agreed that we would be naive to think Mike Braun's people weren't somewhat aware. The state party's probably not going to run.
They were probably given some sort of heads up.
Right.
We're doing this.
And that's fine. And look, there's going to be 3 issues by which we're going to judge Mike Braun after a year from now. Is number 1, did he fix the property taxes? Number 2, did he get universal school choice? And number 3, did he make significant reforms to how state government is run? It's going to take a year to figure it out. But after 1 year, we'll be able to come back on this radio show and say, this guy accomplished what he promised to accomplish, or this guy failed, and then we'll go from there. Look, you can keep complaining. You got 2 options here, right? The reality is it's going to be Jennifer McCormick or Mike Braun is going to be your governor. One person wants on-demand abortion, no limits. She will bankrupt the state with her property tax plan in 4 years. She will grow the government. She will have mass giveaways to public education. She will try to strip school choice. Those are the realities. Those are her words. Those are her plan. Or you can go with the other guy who's given you a path to fix your property taxes, give you universal school choice, and reform the government. Are there tons of areas that we're going to disagree with Braun on? Yes. I love how people have tried to make this that I'm some Braun absolutist. No, I'm a realist. I've given the libertarians, the Dungeons and Dragons Society, 7 years to get their act together. I've done everything a human could possibly do to help those people. They will not help themselves. They do not want to help themselves. They do not want to grow. They do not want to get better. That's why, other than people we support, they get the same 2 or 3% everywhere they go. We have to try a new approach. This guy says he wants to fix it. He has a plan to do it. Let's give it a shot. If it fails, we'll come up with something else. What do you want from us, people?
I like that phone call, how he mentioned the roads. When we were driving back from our trip over the weekend, the dude is sitting in the car, and I was driving, and he wasn't really paying attention, and he said, "Are we in Indiana yet?" Oh, wait, no, stupid question. The roads are too smooth. We're not in Indiana yet.
Well, look, and this should be the plan, right? When the property tax thing gets fixed and you get universal school choice, then the next year.
Right, then we can move on to these other things.
We come back to the gas tax and everything else. It's a multi-year approach here, people. Stay with us.
Hammer's up next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. That's disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-735-0911. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-735-0911. 800-735-0911. That's 800-735-0911.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And Medishare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before October 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is October 30th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Get ready to shake it off before the big show. Get your tickets to the Fearless Karaoke Brunch Fest at Nevermore Downtown on November 2nd and 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a themed buffet, bottomless cocktails, and endless fun. Sing your heart out with karaoke. Create friendship bracelets and compete in our costume contest. Tickets start at $40 for the buffet or upgrade to the boozy brunch for $75, including unlimited mimosas, sangria, and Bloody Marys. All ages welcome. Tickets at swiftbrunchfest.com.
Hey, it's JMV. Miss M's has 30 to 50% off trees and shrubs. That's right, all trees and shrubs at least 30% off. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
From the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Violent Femmes here, right? Blister in the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
They re-released this a couple different times. They have milked this sweet cash-giving teat for as much as they can possibly do it.
What do you mean re-released it?
So this is an older song. Like, this song came out years.
83,
84?
84?
Yeah, like 83 or 84. And then it made a resurgence in the 90s. It was on some movie soundtrack, so they re-released it. Like, kind of like what Queen did with Bohemian Rhapsody. Remember when Wayne's World came out and they had that scene where they're all singing along? Queen was like, well, I think we can make a few more bucks on this. And they put Bohemian Rhapsody back out on the market. One thing that we talked about the other night, we've been so knee-deep in the election and all things national and local, the Delphi trial. What I think was an interesting story was that there are going to be direct flights from Indianapolis to Ireland now.
Oh, yeah.
This is a big
Holcomb was
deal.
very excited about that.
He was, and I think somebody else is very excited about this as well. Here to share his thoughts on these new direct flights to Ireland is AI Joe Hogsett.
This is a really big deal, not because of all of the money the airport will bring in, but because of me thanks to this partnership, I now have a direct flight to get all of the Irish whiskey I can handle. And trust me, I handle a lot. I mean, sweet Jesus, I really, 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 really love whiskey. The redder my face gets, the more the whiskey hits.
Here, here.
Plus, if I go to an Ireland bar, I guarantee that I won't be the biggest drunk in the bar.
True.
For once. Allegedly. Bring on the Jameson, bring on the McConnell, and bring on the Tullamore Dew. Fun fact. Tullamore Dew is the official Irish whiskey for sexual harassment in my office. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
AI Hogset out.
Fantastic.
AI Joe Hogsett excited about those direct flights.
Don't we have a wedding to go to soon, by the way?
We do. November 7th, I think, whatever that Saturday is. I think that's the date.
That's coming up. That we gotta go to that wedding. Maybe they'll have some Irish whiskey at that wedding.
Oh man, yeah, we'll do it up. We'll get out there and might do some little river dancing. I don't know. We'll see.
Pick Rob up. They were poking him with a stick.
Yeah, we invited those radio guys as a joke, and one of them left without pants.
Hey, we got a podcast coming out today.
We do around 1 o'clock this afternoon, the NFL edition of the Degenerates Next Door. Rob's going to have a pick on the Colts game. I've got action tonight and a lot of prop bets. So, yeah, man, going to be dropped about 1 o'clock.
Now I'm all torn. See, I have to do the Colts pick each week because I go on with Cats.
Yeah.
On Friday and do the pick. And I hate that because I am not good at betting the Colts. But now I had a bet that I liked, and then Kevin Bowen has now talked me out of it. I saw him in the hallway. Of course, he does the morning show at the Fan. So now I think I'm going to have the flipperoo, but then I'm going to be so mad if I do the flipperoo.
No, go with your gut.
Well, but I think he made a good point about why my gut was wrong.
Oh.
And then Hammer backed me up on it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a must-listen podcast, and 1 o'clock, that's when it drops, and we've got professional gamblers that do this for a living and are successful that join us. Kenny Britt from KB Sports, David Stefanoff, Fall and Never Fade, and the Heartlands comedian Scott Long will have the long shot as well.
What do you have coming up this afternoon?
Off the Rails with Rob Kendall. He will join us. And again, we've been rocking this Delphi coverage in the afternoon. Donnie Burgess is a rock star, and we'll have the absolute latest from the courtroom.
Thanks for coming in, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Mark Dietel, as always, the only real estate expert I trust with the sale of my home, and I'd also trust him to find me a brand new home as well. Here's what Mark from Danville had to say. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the cost of the new home, I needed a big price. Mark Dietel's team was the answer. My home sold in 3 days on the market over my asking price.
Mark Dietel is the best, and what separates him from the competition is the guarantee. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is the Mark Dietel guarantee. You pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today, 755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. 4232 or go to markdeedle.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what was discussed yesterday in the Delphi murders trial, plus Harrison Silcox reports on how much meth Plainfield cops seized yesterday, and gas is cheap, and it's only getting cheaper. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. At the top of the hour, you're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
End the war in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's Secretary of State Antony Blinken's message to Israel a week after it killed Hamas's leader.
Israel has accomplished the strategic goals that it set out for itself, making sure that October 7th and the horrors can never happen again.
Referencing the Hamas terror attack that triggered the war in Gaza. Now, that continues with an Israeli airstrike that officials in Gaza say hit a school-turned-shelter today, killing at least 17 people. Blinken also pledged another $135 million in humanitarian aid to Palestinians. Meanwhile, Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Israel.
Hezbollah firing more than 120 rockets into northern Israel today. At least 4 people were injured by shrapnel just north of our position here in the city of Haifa. The barrages came after Israel struck numerous targets in Lebanon overnight. In the Lebanese capital of Beirut, at least half a dozen buildings were taken down by Israeli airstrikes.
12 days before the election, more than 25 million Americans have already voted early, and more are casting ballots today. Former President Trump will campaign in 2 more toss-up states, Arizona and Nevada, after going to Georgia yesterday.
I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals into our country.
Now, Vice President Harris will be in Georgia today after calling Trump a fascist and unfit to serve at a town hall in Pennsylvania.
She'll be on the trail with former President Obama for the first time ever. Other notable celebrities that will appear at the rally are Bruce Springsteen, Spike Lee, Tyler Perry, and Samuel L. Jackson.
That's Fox's Brooke Singman. Tomorrow, Beyonce will appear on stage with Harris in Texas. Another get the lead out push from the Biden administration. The EPA has new regulations aimed at removing lead paint still in homes 44 years after it was banned. This after a deadline was set to replace lead pipes to make our water supply safer. New home sales rose last month to 4.1% higher. We got that report a day after we found out that previously owned home sales fell to the lowest annual rate in 14 years. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Today is day 6. Radar is clear, 56 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. That's in the Delphi murders trial. On Wednesday, there was more testimony from witnesses and experts when asked if any of Richard Allen's electronic devices seized in the investigation connected him to the 2 murdered girls. A top officer with the Indiana Crimes Against Children Task Force said no. Allen is charged with 4 counts of murder. 2 men were arrested by Plainfield police after they were caught with a lot of meth. Harrison Silcox reports.
Those 2 men were in a pickup truck, and it was pulled over on I-70 near the Plainfield exit Tuesday on some traffic violations. Turns out they were hauling over 180 pounds of meth in the back. A canine is who sniffed out the drugs that were concealed in a black bag with a trash bag inside and a cardboard box inside of that. Both the men who were inside the truck were booked into the Hendricks County Jail. They're facing a charge of possession with the intent to distribute for both that meth and some fentanyl pills that officers also found. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A man is dead in what police say was a shooting through a window on Thursday. Ryan Hedrick.
And it happened in Speedway right off of 10th Street, and people calling 911 told police that they heard several gunshots right after midnight. The shooting was in a parking lot in an apartment complex along North Norfolk Street. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas is below $3 on average in Indiana for the first time since late January, $2.99. The average price in Indiana, says GasBuddy.com. Hoosiers in South Bend paying $2.39 at some stations. Both Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner practiced on a limited basis Wednesday. Head coach Shane Steichen on having JT back at practice.
Obviously, we know what JT brings to the table. Goody and Trey have done a hell of a job, but, getting JT back in the fold will be big. Those home run plays and the run game will be huge for us.
Indy traveling to Houston on Sunday for a crucial AFC South game on the road. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, your American Standard air dealer in Hendricks County.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, October 24th, 4 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. So Donald Trump is going to travel out west this evening, holding rallies in Arizona and in Nevada. The Nevada event specifically attempting to appeal to Asian Americans. Kamala Harris, she's going to continue to try to use star power. She's going to be in Georgia along with Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen. Donald Trump was just in Georgia last night and had a banger of a rally. They were very excited there. It was part of the Turning Point rally.
Well, this is what's interesting is if you watch the early voting count, and NBC News actually has a pretty comprehensive website of tracking early voting by party affiliation. Now, they do not count the votes at a time. It just simply they can track this many Republicans have voted, this many Democrats have voted. And what's interesting is, like in Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, the Republicans seem to be doing very well in early voting compared to previous years. Then in a place like Pennsylvania, now I went back and looked at the early vote count in 2020 in Pennsylvania, and Biden won the early vote count. Democrats, I should say, I guess, won the early vote count in Pennsylvania by close to 1 million votes. Now, it was a different animal, the COVID, all the other stuff. Right now, there are something like 325,000 votes ahead. We'll see where that goes. If it gets up to 500,000 or so, though, I mean, you'd have to think that's a big barrier to access. So it is kind of weird how Republicans seem to be doing really well in some states and not changing too much. Now they're up ahead like 4%, maybe where they were in percentage-wise over 2020. But, all of that being said, nobody has any idea what's going on out there right now.
Nobody has any idea.
And if they tell you they know, they're lying. I mean, it's like Nate Silver has said for forever Kamala Harris is going to win.
And then he just switched it and said his gut is telling him it's going to be Trump.
There's so many variables at stake. Now, I think most of it's baked in at this point, don't you? I think most people know how they're voting.
Yeah.
Don't they?
I believe so.
I mean, what do we think? I don't care what the polls say. Realistically, what do you think? Maybe 5% of the populace left that doesn't know or hasn't decided or is on the I mean, how at this point could you be on the fence, whatever way you're going?
What more information do you need?
Right, exactly.
How many more town halls do you need to watch?
Right. I mean, there's not going to be any more debates. She is, she is awful. I mean, unscripted, she is awful. And you would think as a normal person, take the partisans out of the equation, that kind of leans red, leans blue, but doesn't always go red, doesn't always go blue. Those people, if you're one of them and you look at her and you're like, really? You've seen what the 4 years under Biden was like. I know Trump is not your favorite cup of tea, but can't you just ignore Twitter for 4 years? I mean, he can't run for a second term. So can't you just ignore Twitter? Can't you just block him? I mean, whatever you got to do. And just for the good of the country, just suck it up.
It's interesting you say block Twitter because this is some audio. This is, she calls herself an independent female voter. And here she is explaining why she is voting for Trump.
I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an independent. I do all my own research. And it's actually quite terrifying to even put my opinion out there because it is so different than other people's. But one thing I've learned from marketing is it's really easy to spread an agenda that you want to spread. So that's why I'm very careful while watching the news is what agenda are they trying to get across to me? Because I don't go about this decision lightly. I vote for my family, my future kids. I'm friends with people who have came to America for safety because their country turned dangerous. So I just want to make a educated vote. And even though Trump has a huge ego, and even though he should turn off his Twitter, I still feel like out of the two of them, he's going to get the job done. And I feel like no matter what you say, America is a stabilizer for the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is on the verge of World War III. Literally. So the reason I'm making my vote is because I do believe that people's lives are at stake depending on who wins this election. And frankly, Kamala, I want a woman president, but I want a woman president that doesn't lie and actually cares about the people.
There you go. So she's voting for Trump.
She made probably the most interesting point of all, which is about America being a stabilizer for the
rest
world.
of the world.
And she's 100% on that. If you look at where the world was during Trump versus where it is now, it's not even close.
Yeah.
And part of the deal with Trump is those people believe he's crazy. They believe he'll press the button. They believe he'll do whatever, and it acts as a deterrent. He's also good at negotiating. He's also good at getting people together and trying to find out what everybody can live with and be equally miserable together. Biden obviously can't even speak anymore. I mean, how is he going to do that? So I do think she hit on something that doesn't get talked about enough, which is Trump's ability to really bring the world together.
I saw a meme yesterday, and I'm probably not going to get it exactly right, but it was something in the vein of, here's a picture of 5 to 6 of the past presidents and 10 wars. And then here's a picture of Donald Trump, 0 wars and 34 convictions.
You're right.
Do you notice what the problem is here?
I mean, it seems
Military-industrial complex loves it.
Voting's a personal thing. Voting's an emotional thing. So everybody gets to their own conclusion in a variety of different ways. But it would seem I'm going to lay out the resumes of these two people, and I'm going to lay out what the world looked like under these two people. Which one are you choosing? If you took the names out of it, you would assume it would be Trump, 99 times out of 100. But, people vote sometimes in crazy ways for crazy reasons, and we'll see. I mean, the reality is it's going to come down to, if you say based on early voting data, Trump is going to win Arizona and win Georgia, which you're starting to see more and more these commentators, talking heads kind of starting to come to that realization. And there's some people, I'm not ready to say this yet, that say based on early voting, Nevada is much more in play than people thought. But the reality is, and if you give him North Carolina, because I think it's a Republican state, and then the tilt is Republican there, and there's not enough Democrat enthusiasm, it's going to come down to, can she thread the needle on the blue firewall? Can she win? If she wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. It doesn't matter what Trump does in the other places. He's got to get one of those. Maybe during the break, I'll pull up that map maker and
see where it's at.
Try to play that out.
Okay, so Beyonce is set to appear at a rally with Harris in Houston tomorrow. Do you remember? She was supposed to.
Beyonce, yes, I remember her.
There were rumors that she was going to play at the DNC, and then that was just a no-show at the last minute. And Donald Trump, and she's also got Obama with her. So Kamala Harris is bringing her gang of people, Beyonce and Barack Obama, and Donald Trump he's a bigger rock star than them. I mean, don't you think he's filling these stadiums and he's getting these massive crowds at rallies by himself? And Harris has to bring all of these people along with her. Here's Donald Trump. He's talking about Barack Obama. He's talking about him being old, but he also mentions Rush Limbaugh.
He didn't respect Obama. He thought Obama was a real jerk. And I think he's a real jerk because I've watched him campaign over the last couple of days. I watched him campaign. What a divider he is, right? What a divider he is. He'd divide this country. He couldn't care less. Him and his little group of people. He was terrible. But I've watched what he's done. He's trying to campaign because she's incapable of campaigning. So they send him in to try. He's not going to do it. He also, you know who he helped? He helped Hillary Clinton. How did that work out? He came out for Hillary. So they sent out the same thing. But the fake news, they don't talk about that. They said, oh, they're bringing out Barack Hussein Obama. Oh, Barack, remember Rush? Barack Hussein Obama. Rush Limbaugh, we miss him, don't we? Don't we miss him, Peter?
All right, when we come back, I know this isn't our template, but I've got the interactive map up. You want to play with some scenarios on the interactive map when we come up?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you need a whiteboard?
No, I've got it. I've got a little mouse right here. I can do it live on the air.
Fantastic. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
When this election is over, we're all going to need a drink. Come to think of it, let's book that now. WIBC and Tony Katz present
Understanding the Election in 3 Bourbons.
Brought to you by Premier Arms.
Thursday, November 14th. And we're going to try and get the answers.
He'll then explain the bourbons that go nicely with election analysis. You'll get a cigar.
There's going to be bourbon. There's going to be food.
A cash bar. And stimulating conversation.
It's going to be an incredible night.
Get the details and your tickets before they sell out at WIBC.com.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's time to get ready for spooky season by eliminating all that spooky dirt, grime, and spills. Halloween brings out the best in people, but it also brings out some pretty scary crud from all the foot traffic. How about having Zero Res help you take on all of that with an unbelievable October special? Get 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at just $119 and $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's a $50 savings on carpet cleaning. And remember that your air ducts are where the really spooky stuff is. Yikes! The Zero Res service for your carpets, floors, or air ducts is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. I love these folks. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus you get $75 off air duct cleaning too. 317-388-5141, or book things online at zeroresindy.com.
Talking on the phone is difficult if you've been exposed to loud noises over time. Combat veterans, factory workers, farmers, gun and motorcycle enthusiasts can have trouble hearing on the telephone. Relay Indiana helps return clarity to your phone conversations. A free service providing telecom accessibility, Relay Indiana allows hard of hearing users to have normal phone conversations through specially trained relay operators. Relay Indiana also provides free loaned equipment to those who qualify. Get the CapTel caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit relayindiana.com now.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
This season, get premium tech that inspires joy from Dell Technologies. Bring projects to life with the XPS 16. It delivers supercharged processing for enhanced productivity and freedom to express yourself. Performance-class Dell PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors deliver a dedicated engine to help accelerate AI. Enjoy free shipping, Dell rewards, and expert support. When you get a Dell PC with AI, it gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
Are you ready?
Yeah, so it's going to take at least 270 electoral votes to win the 24 presidential election. Indiana has 11 electors in 2020. Donald Trump won Indiana by 487,359 votes.
Okay, so there are many interactive maps. We went to 270towin.com is the one we're using, and I thought it'd be fun. By the way, it's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. If we just kind of had a little segment where I play with the map and we come up with different electoral results based on, hey, what if she won these states and what if Trump wins these states? So the reality is that Kamala Harris, no matter what Trump does in all the swing states, if Kamala Harris wins the blue firewall of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania,
okay,
she becomes the president of the United States. We see the surge in Nevada. We're hearing about the surge in Arizona. Georgia's looking good. North Carolina. It doesn't matter. If she holds those three traditionally blue states, she wins exactly on the number 270 electoral votes.
Yeah.
He wins 268. Now, what's interesting is, so there are two states in the union that split their electoral votes, Nebraska and Maine. Maine always splits 50-50. Nebraska usually splits. They have 5 electoral votes. Maine has 2, 4, and then there's 1. I think Lincoln is the district, and it goes Democrat. There was a law proposed this year that would have eliminated that and ordered all 5 electoral votes to go to a singular candidate. The state legislature in Nebraska shot that down, as they have multiple times. So if that were to have happened, then you would theoretically have 269 and 269, which means you go to the House of Representatives. But that's not how we play. All right. So you want to start getting a little frisky here with this?
Okay.
All right. So let's say she wins Pennsylvania. Trump wins. What's the most likely one, Michigan or Wisconsin?
For Trump? Oh, gosh, that's a hard one.
Which one do you think he's more likely to win?
I'm going to say Wisconsin.
Okay. I kind of maybe agree with you based on polling. So if he wins Wisconsin, keeps everything else, so she has Pennsylvania and Michigan, he then has 278 to her 260, he becomes the president. If the early voting is a mirage and not reality, and Nevada were to go blue, but Trump wins Wisconsin, he has 272, she has 266. All right, let's try this little exercise, shall we? Let's say Trump somehow wins Michigan and Wisconsin, but loses Pennsylvania.
Oh, I don't see that happening.
He's at 287. She's at 251, which means if we were to give her Georgia,
North Carolina,
and North Carolina, that would get her to 283. He's at 255. Now, if Trump keeps North Carolina, she gets Georgia. He's still at 271. She's at 267.
What does polling in Georgia look like?
Well, the early vote, the polls that are coming out, Trump has been winning basically every single, almost all, not quite all of them. There's a record number of early voting that is taking place. So you don't know exactly what that looks like, but most people think he's going to win Georgia. I mean, the reality of this is, all right, let's get cutesy on this one. Let's say Trump, it's a Trump wave, shall we? Trump wave, we're going to give him Nevada, we're going to give him Pennsylvania, we're going to give him Michigan, we're going to give him Wisconsin. He's at 312.
Yeah.
She's at 226.
Do you think that she will certify the election?
Oh, that's crazy because she would have to do it, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Look, here is the reality of the aftermath of this election, and Matt Hiblin and I were talking about this yesterday, our boss. I believe there is going to be mass chaos no matter what the election result is. However, I do think it will actually be worse if she loses because I think they will unleash the Antifa BLM people, and I think we will see
another summer of love.
Yes, I think we will see
fall of love.
See something that resembles that because what will they have to lose at that point?
Right. They've lost the White House and potentially the Senate and the House.
So the most likely scenario for her,
I don't see the scenario you said with Trump winning Wisconsin and Michigan and losing Pennsylvania. I don't see that scenario happening.
Well, I think Pennsylvania is going to be the hardest one for him to win because I actually think that the mass exodus of Arab American voters to him is going to hurt her big time in Michigan. I think Wisconsin, if you look at the Senate polling, is looking like the most likely of the pickups. I think Pennsylvania is going to actually be the hardest one for him to get.
You think so?
I think Pennsylvania is going to be the hardest one for him to get. Okay, real quick, just an exercise here, just because it's just us cackling hens.
Yeah.
Let's say she wins Nevada, and he wins. Okay.
Arizona?
Well, if he wins, so if he wins Wisconsin, game over. Trump's got to get one of the three of the blue firewall.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania.
He's got to get one of them. Under no scenario can Trump be the president unless he wins one of those three states.
And you think it's going to be Wisconsin out of the three?
I think Wisconsin, if you look at the Senate polling, in which that race at the Senate is now a toss-up and is basically a pick-em. I think the Democrat incumbent Baldwin is up like a point, maybe a point and a half in the aggregate of the polling, and he's going to eclipse whatever the Senate candidate does in any of these states. I think that is the most likely one for him to win.
And he has spent so much time in Pennsylvania. I mean, you think about the two Butler rallies and then the one that he had with Antonio Brown and then the McDonald's. That was all in Pennsylvania, focusing a lot of energy on that state. And the weird thing about it is if she wins Pennsylvania, it's Pittsburgh and Philly that did it.
Well, and so
everything else.
Here's what's really interesting about all this, though, is like I said, I try to read liberal Twitter because I think when it tells you how people think, right, it helps you do your job better and understand how people think. And one of the things that I just cannot express enough to people is because of the way algorithms work now, it's easy to get suckered into nobody I know voted for her. Their Twitter is
it's the same way for the other team.
It's the exact same. It's like the bizarro world, right? And one of the things when reading that liberal Twitter, and there's a couple of people who post who are liberal people who are cheerleading for her that are in Pennsylvania, they seem to think the number is 500,000 in that early voting. And I don't.
That seems high.
Well, it was 1 million in 2020. I went and looked at it yesterday. It was just under 1 million. Now, there were a lot more people early voting, and the mail voting was more common, etc. Did you know in Pennsylvania, this is crazy, you can order a ballot early. You can go to the clerk's office and go fill it out there. I don't know why you wouldn't just go early vote, but basically you avoid standing in line, it appears. You can order a mail-in ballot at the clerk's office and go fill it out there and hand it to them. That's crazy to me that you can, the way Pennsylvania's, I was reading a bunch of Pennsylvania's election laws yesterday and how nutty their mail-in voting actually is. So anyway, point of the exercise, he's got to get one of those three states to become the president.
Okay, now you had mentioned the Arab population, and here's something to consider. He was asked recently about having a half Arab grandchild.
become a grandfather soon. Congratulations
Yes, thank
again.
you very much. That's right.
And your grandchild is going to be half Arab or Lebanese.
That's true. I'm
so
happy
how do you
about
feel
that.
about that?
I'm happy about it.
Okay,
I
great.
have many friends who are Arab, as you say, but from different countries, but Arab. And I'm very happy about it. They're smart. They're very warm people. It's a shame what's happening over there. They're the warmest people. Michael's father's so great. His mother's so great. They're friends of mine. Michael's such a great young man. He's so great. He's such a smart guy. And they're going to have a baby, and I'm very happy about it.
Okay, so Tiffany Trump is pregnant, and she's married to Michael, like Donald Trump just
She was
mentioned.
always my favorite of the Trumps because she looked like the person I would most likely be, the person I would be most likely to see in Broad Ripple.
You could relate to?
She looked the roughest around the edges, so she was always my favorite of the rest of them looked super dignified and whatever, and she was like, yeah, she's a you out with me, you out till 3 kind of person.
So Donald Trump's son-in-law is from Lebanese immigrants, so he will have a half
very rich
Arab.
I mean, she didn't just find some guy off the street. Like, he's in the royal family or some lineage or something, right? I mean, it's not, you know, their parents don't own a car lot somewhere. Very, 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 very rich.
Yes, but you still think that she's going to hang out with you?
No, not anymore. No. I'm saying years ago, we used to talk about this with the women all the time, that I had said that she was by far my favorite because I think she was the most prone to making terrible choices.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Another day, more testimony. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. More witness testimony Wednesday in the Delphi murders trial. Donnie Burgess reports.
Dr. Roland Kaur conducted the autopsies on Delphi teenagers Abigail Williams and Liberty German. He testified Wednesday that he cannot settle on the time of death, nor does he have a consistent opinion on the type of blade used to kill the girls. Rape kits were used for both girls, but no apparent evidence of sexual assault was present. The defense claims suspect Richard Allen is innocent, and the timeline of the murders laid out by the state is incorrect. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Around 12,000 North Korean troops are being sent to Russia. That's according to South Korea's defense ministry. The U.S. confirming the troops will be joining the conflict against Ukraine. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
October is a critical time to check your home's windows. If yours are cracked or leaking and won't open or stay open, then it's time to call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. That's right, you heard me. 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months.
Proven quality and service. It's no wonder thousands have trusted Window Nation. Don't miss out. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green?
Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you concerned about rising property taxes? My name is Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor in Indiana. My plan would limit your property taxes to 1% of the purchase price of your property. It would never increase, and it would end once you've paid for 7 years. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message. Paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
Hey, guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, it's Thursday, and that means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out the place we call home, Life Church. They make it super easy for you. Campuses all across central Indiana. Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Plus, they've got awesome online services if you'd like to check it out for yourself without leaving the house. And over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. I know, we're one of them. Check it out. Everything on the web, lifechurchin.com.
This is Danny Reinhardt with Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Give us a call for any of your heating and cooling needs. We're here to serve you. 317-745-4526.
Reinhardt is your trusted local independent American Standard Air dealer.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
This was discovered recently, and it made me chuckle. So what's the screensaver on your phone? The background.
Right now?
Yeah.
Picture of my kid.
That's what I figured. And what about you, Kevin? What sort of background do you have on your phone?
Mine is the ceiling of a cathedral in France.
Okay, so it's something.
A picture I took.
Some neat architecture, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense because you're not married, you don't have children. You would pick something that's pleasing to the eye.
Right.
I've got a picture of me and my daughter as mine. Guess what Donald Trump has as his background on
himself?
his phone?
It's a portrait of himself.
It is.
Oh, it is not.
It is. This was leaked out on social media. They were taking pictures of Donald Trump, and his phone was sitting there, and the screensaver was on, so it was a picture of him. Can you imagine?
I totally can imagine. That's why I said that.
I mean, you'd think with all of his grandchildren or his children, maybe he would do something like that, or the American flag, or I don't know, from sea to shining sea. He's got lots of options. Even Trump Force One, maybe, but no, it's a picture of himself.
You know, the one thing I regret, did you know I interviewed the president, Casey?
It was a great dream.
His words, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I regret, because he was having such a good time, I probably could have got him to do about anything.
Yeah.
I really regret not asking him, will you do a tweet live on this broadcast as we're recording?
Oh,
like just to be able to watch him, like pull out his phone. Does he know how the apps work? Is there just like one big giant button he has to press? I mean, you know, he's an older guy, so you know, how well does he actually know technology?
Did he have the
internet?
caps lock on?
Yeah, like I mean, I really regret that I didn't ask him, hey, will you do you know,
what do you think he would have tweeted at that
I'm
moment?
being interviewed by Rob Kendall. He's a great dream. I can just see him. He probably would have.
This is the best interview ever, probably. I don't know if it's true, but it's probably true.
I really regret that. Yeah, but of course it's a photo of him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it is. He just dropped a new ad against Harris, and it's the "Why Didn't She Do It" ad.
I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? Why hasn't she done it?
She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? Because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel.
Did you ban offshore drilling? Yes. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. The worst vice president in the history of our country.
So during an NBC interview, Harris, she was asked what part in her administration Lion Liz Cheney would have. Would she put her in her cabinet? And she said, stay tuned.
Yeah, well, okay, so he hits that ad's great because that is a fair question. Like, why have you not done these things? You have been there. I was having this conversation with Todd Meyer yesterday. We were talking about, I said, one of the major mistakes they did when they got rid of Biden was they picked her. Now, they had to because of identity politics, because the Democrats are all about identity politics, and they were not going to hop over a black woman. Trump would have had real problems if they'd have picked somebody else. Trump would have had real problems if they'd have picked Gavin Newsom, because that's somebody with plausible deniability. Now, we all know he agrees with all that stuff, but he is removed from that thing. But anybody that was connected to Biden,
Right.
you're going to have this issue because the question becomes, you've been there. Why didn't you do it?
And she has no answer for that. She's been asked that repeatedly over and over again, and you get what? Word salad city.
Yeah. You do.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And did you see the article that said sales of existing homes in the U.S. are on track for the worst year since 1995?
Wow.
This is for the second year in a row. And for a moment there, it seemed like mortgage rates were going to go down when the Fed was talking how they were going to cut rates, but that really hasn't fixed anything. It just shows that we're now at risk of creating a generation that feels completely shut out of home ownership.
Well, it's all the fault of the government. We've talked about this at length about there was an actual article after those rate cuts when nothing changed and why that is, and that's because the economy is too overcooked. I mean, you had a political decision made by the Fed to try to save the stock market to make Kamala look better, when the reality is the nuts and bolts of the economy, there's way too much money in the economy, so it wasn't going to change the interest rate. Regular people rarely get helped when these large government entities or quasi-government entities act, in the case of the Fed. It's the governments and the tippy-top people that get helped. And they so overcooked the economy in 2020 because they needlessly shut the economy down that I don't know how you're ever going to get out of this, Casey, because those home prices are set. If you paid, $400,000 for a home that's a $300,000 home, the bank is not going to allow you to sell that for $300,000 if you still owe $350,000.
Yep.
You're stuck in that home, and you can't move anyway because
There's nothing available.
Yeah, and the interest rate difference, right? I mean, if you let's say you find a home, let's say your home is a $400,000 home, you can sell it for $400,000. You can get out of break even. You can figure out a way to do that. Okay, fine. Now you can go buy another home, but you're now paying a 6% interest rate or 6.5%.
And you were locked into a lower mortgage rate before.
You'd be insane to do that.
Right. Why would you do that? Yeah. Okay, I've got a question for you coming up. We have to discuss this, all right?
Great.
It's about your plan. What is your plan?
Always got a plan, Casey.
Yeah, I want to know what it is for a couple of things that are coming up very soon. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. That's disaster.salvationarmyusa.org. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I can't cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Johnson County Fairgrounds in Franklin. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
I had the ring already. She had made it very clear what kind of ring she wanted.
Yep.
I pretended that I was gonna kneel and picked up a pine cone instead of pulling out a ring.
What a jerk. But when I saw that ring, I was like, oh, he did good.
I really love Amy. I really, really genuinely love Amy.
I love you too.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family. Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
It's JMV, and Halloween is approaching quickly, and Miss M's Home and Garden wants to start the spooky season off right. Visit them this Saturday, the 26th, for their annual pet costume contest. Bring your furry friend in their best costume for your chance to win great prizes. Miss M's also has partnered with local animal advocate Leanne's Animal Rescue to raise money, toys, food, and treats for her efforts. Bring donations all day Saturday for door prizes, too. Leanne will be there from 10 until 2 to talk more about her efforts. Visit MissM'sHomeandGarden.com for more info today.
Pacers basketball is ready to run it back and show the world that our time is now. Oh my! Turn it with the dunk. Get ready to experience the most fun, fast-paced team in basketball when the action tips off at Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Opening night presented by Kroger tips off when your Pacers meet the 76ers Sunday at 3:30. Lucas Oil Family Night tickets start at $39 and include a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and a small Pepsi product. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/family. Pacers 76ers Sunday at 3:30.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
What once seemed black and white turns to so many shades of gray. We lose ourselves in work.
So the news cycle pretty much being sucked up by the election. You've probably noticed that, haven't you, Rob?
I said this the other night at that Micah Beckwith event that, the next 14 days are like ratings gold, for us.
For us.
It's a freebie. We can be as bad as we want and people will listen because it's an election.
Well, we won't try to be as bad as we want. We'll try to be halfway decent. But, I've heard a lot of people ask the question, what is your voting plan? Do you have a plan to vote? My question for you is, what is your election night plan? Do you have a plan for election night?
Okay, it's funny.
Are you taking the next day off?
Well, okay, it's funny you said that because I got an invite to go to 2024 is such a weird year.
Mm-hmm.
Like who on their bingo card had Rob Kendall speaking at Indiana Republican Party events.
Right.
And who had Rob Kendall getting invited to the Indiana Republican Party election night.
Okay.
So I got invited. It's at the Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let's work through this out loud.
Yes,
shall we? Okay, because
please.
look, obviously, someone I'm very close to is on the ballot.
Right.
So I want to support that person. However, there's part of me that says the day after the election, we start holding these people accountable because there are certain promises that they have made, especially related to property taxes and universal school choice and the things like that. So do I want to be at the soiree?
Right.
If then the next day I got to turn around and we got to start getting mean again.
Well, is it the next day or is it when they take office, when their term
Well,
starts?
I think it's going to start immediately because, hey, org day is right around the corner. All these lawmakers will be here. They're going to start setting agenda. They're going to start, the transformation.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean,
I think you go, and I think you go, and I think you let them know. Hey, remember, this is great. We're friends right now, but beginning tomorrow, I'm just a normal Hoosier.
All right. Would you go with me?
Absolutely.
Will you and Jim go with us?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Is this a sort of dress up, look fancy sort of thing?
No, I think I don't think you can wear like the clothes I wear to work, but I don't think it's not a black tie tuxedo type of affair.
So somewhere between soft pants and a hoodie and heels.
There's probably some of those people inside that state party that are just, they're just so beside themselves that, Beckwith is where he's at because now it means Uncle Fester here is going to be
tagging along for all the events
party for the next 4 years.
Well, he did tell us that we would be able to broadcast outside his office by the pig. So let's hold him accountable to that.
I always feel like when I go to these GOP things, now not that one the other night because it was a lot of Micah people as an event for Micah, but like these general I'm like the Rodney Dangerfield character in Caddyshack, and if Braun gets across the finish line, I guess we'll all be singing a lot of. Love each other the next 4 years.
No, I think that you should totally plan on going.
All right, I'll go if you go with me.
I'll go.
Okay,
I'll
very
go.
good.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Was your invite like +3?
Well, this is my question. Like, can I'm invited by someone. I will only go if you and Jim can go. Obviously, I'm sure Micah would not have a problem with you guys going. Who invited me?
Yeah.
So,
I think Micah would be okay if I was there.
But we've made this very clear, though. I am like the James Earl Jones character in Field of Dreams. I am the Terrence Mann character where I did this for so long, and it was my life, and I got so disenchanted by it that I walked away from it. And
they're pulling you back in.
It's like
they're
the Godfather, right?
Sucking you back in.
I don't. I hate to leave my house, right? I'm loath to leave my house, and I don't like going to these things. I mean, I like many of the people that like the one at Micah's. It was a lot of people from like Life Church, and it was kind of the regular folks. These political things, it's all these political people, and I know they don't like me anyway, and so I don't know. I guess okay, fine. I'll send RSVP +3.
+3, exactly. That's fantastic. Now the other question that I have for you.
Yes.
Okay, so that's our plan for election night.
Great.
I love it. We won't be there all night so that we can go back to doing some tweeting about what's going on.
Well, you should. I mean, Indiana, you got a firm idea by like 9 o'clock,
right?
Because you got most of the polls closing at 6. Gary's going to be 7. Is Evansville? Are they in Central Time? Maybe they are too. I don't know. There's a couple corridors of the state that are Central Time. So that's 7 o'clock. You're going to know if it's close enough. Those votes are even going to matter.
Right.
So by 9 or 10, we should be donezo.
Right. We should have a really good idea. And you know what? For everything we're hearing out of Michigan and Arizona, the presidential election won't be called for weeks.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we'll be there as guests of Micah, so we'll have to be on our best behavior. Micah's definitely not the you out with me, you out till 3 crowd. So
this is true. So we'll be good.
We'll be done by 10 o'clock. We maybe even be home by 10 o'clock.
We'll
Who knows?
be good, and we'll be able to come into work the next day and analyze and give everybody a synopsis of what happened.
What you do on your own time after that is totally up to you.
That's true. Okay, now my next question for you. We've talked about election night and what your plan is there. What is your plan for Taylor Swift weekend?
When is that? Is that coming up?
It's the 1st through the 3rd. I don't even know if it's a weekend. Let me look at the calendar.
Yeah, the 1st is a Friday.
It is a weekend.
Well, okay.
It's next weekend.
So and we got to coordinate here on this because they're very adamant that we not both take the same days off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at how things fall apart if one of us is not here.
Right, I know. It goes off the rails.
So I was going to take that Friday off to avoid having to be around the Taylor Swift people. But then it was brought to my attention, hey, that's right before the election.
Mm-hmm.
That's ratings gold.
That's go time.
You can't just skedoodle out of here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I will, of course, be nowhere near the greater
downtown area.
In fact, maybe I'll head to the fine sponsor of State House Happenings, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage there in Brazil, and just hang out by the water out in Brazil.
So your plan is to get as far away from downtown as possible.
You know, that thing's going to be so big, you could probably sell parking outside your house for that thing.
Outside my house?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I live at 1.5 miles from Lucas Oil Stadium.
Hey, there's a little bit of a rough neighborhood to walk through, but oh my goodness, it's
right?
It's just a utopia this time of year.
Well,
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Are you going?
To the concert?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to pay that kind of money.
Did you see what these tickets are going for?
Yes,
it's
thousands
crazy.
of dollars. Thousands of dollars.
Here's what I don't understand.
I'm sure it's going to be a great concert by all accounts. You've been to a Taylor Swift concert.
I've been to 3 of them.
Yes.
1, 2.
How'd that work out
3.
for you?
1, 2, 3. My favorite, my most memorable part of the one Taylor Swift concert that I went to, I've been to 2 at the whatever it's called now, Gainbridge or Banker's Life or whatever the name of it is, and then I went to 1 at the Soldier Field.
Yeah.
And Soldier Field, of course, is Chicago, so there's nowhere to park. So you have to park. You either have to park miles and miles away, or there's a parking inside a Soldier Field. And you get there, and then you realize this because, of course, you have no idea. And they're like, "Yeah, it'll be $50 to park your car." And I was like, "What if we just left the car in the middle of the road? I'm not even sure the car's worth $50."
You're like the guys from Stripes. We're not parking it; we're abandoning it.
Here's my thing though about the concerts, and I'm consistent on this because I've for 2 years now not gone to the Bruce Springsteen concerts.
Right.
So I am consistent in what I'm about to say, whether it's someone I love or someone I loathe. Either way, I'm consistent on this. What is the lure of paying that much to go when everything is available the next day on the internet via the YouTube?
Right, exactly.
And these cameras are great.
Yeah, and you could sit in your family room or, heck, even in your bed and watch it and have your own bathroom right there and all the snacks and beverages that you want.
I do this all the time where, let's say, he had some big concert at Asbury Park a couple weeks ago. Well, the next day you just put in Bruce Springsteen, Asbury Park, and then these cameras are great now that these people have, the 8K or whatever they're called. And I can just sit there and it's like, this is way better than going.
Well, you know what? It is the experience of being there with all
$4
the people.
grand?
Yeah, well.
A ticket?
I know. That's the thing. I mean, I could say the same thing about a Donald Trump rally. You can watch all the clips on Twitter.
Cost you $0 to go to that.
That's true. It did cost me $0.
Zero. And you got right behind in the stage ski. You're not getting behind the stage ski at Taylor Swift.
For Taylor Swift. Well, if you try, you might be met by some men with badges.
Well, let me just say as emphatically as I can, I cannot wait for November the 3rd to come and go. So
most
we
people
can be
are
done.
saying that about November 5th.
We can be done with this woman.
Got it. All right. Talking about being done. So are we. That's doing it for us today. Hey, you're off tomorrow.
That's right.
Have a wonderful day off. And Brad Kloppenstein is going to be in. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Have a great day.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale price now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Mark from Danville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the